former Chelsea defender Scott Minto alongside me. That was Marco Silva. And what do you, Scott, think that Fulham can achieve this season? Do they need to challenge for Europe to try and keep hold of Marco Silva?
Well, I think it just goes to show football and just the world we live in, where just a month or so ago people are talking about Fulham being, relegation candidates, and now suddenly we're talking about European candidates. And do you know what? They were right on both counts. I think that it goes to show the beauty of the Premier League right now, where you look how tight it is. I mean, now they're on 26 points right now in the bottom half of the table, but 7th place Sunderland on 28 points. I mean, it absolutely can turn like that. Do they need to finish in the European places to keep Marco Silva? Well, only Marco Silva can answer that. But what I would say is, if you were able to get them in, and I do think there's an opportunity, I think outside the top 5, and I even include Manchester United in this, and they're not playing any European football. There's not a standout team there, not on the pitch anyway. So if Fulham can somehow do another 6 wins in 9, very, very easy to say, not easy to do, then there's every chance they could do that. And I think he's like Glasner, like Andoni Iraola, all in their last year of their contracts, really top-class managers where clubs would want them, but also at the same time, they're probably happy where they are. So if the board above them can give them just a little bit more, and Marco Silva hasn't had that really, he's another one who hasn't, then maybe he will stay. And don't forget, he's early on in his career, he travelled around a lot, so it's not as if, right, I'm going to do something like, he's done it. And sometimes the grass isn't always greener on the other side. It's a great place, it's a great club, it's a great area. So if he can just be given a little bit more, then there's every chance that he could stay. I think there's more chance of him staying at Fulham, though, than there is of Glasner staying at Palace.
Yeah, and in terms of the team as well that he's got at his disposal, how much of a coincidence is Fulham's return to form been because Anthony Robinson is back fit and playing well? What does he bring to the side?
Well, he is someone who, obviously playing in my position, I've watched a lot over the last few years, and I've said for a couple of years now, I think he's one of the top left-backs in the Premier League, to the point where last season, and even the season before, people were talking about Miller's Kirkes going to Liverpool, and I was like, do you know what? I know he's a little bit older, but I'd actually go for Anthony Robinson myself. The Kirkes deal hasn't worked out. It still can, but I think Anthony Robinson just gives you that. He's got a little bit of everything. He's good on the ball. He's incredibly athletic. He loves to bomb on as much as possible. And the fact he's quite happy to overlap means the person in front of him is able to come inside a lot and do overload in the midfield against their opposition. So he almost looks after that left-hand side, both from attacking and a defending point of view, while allowing the other player to go inside and do overloads to try and win the ball and create chances elsewhere.
Both sets of players walking out onto the pitch here in South London, Selhurst Park. We're 5 minutes away from kick-off in the Premier League. Reminder on Talksport, right now it's Liverpool Leeds. You can scroll across on the app if you want to listen to that one instead. Fulham in their white home strip as the pyrotechnics go up around Selhurst Park. And we spoke a little bit about defence for Fulham, but in terms of going forward, how important is it for them to have Raul Jimenez scoring goals again? They've won their last 3 away games, as well as heading into this one, and they're looking to reverse the 2-1 outcome against Palace 4 weeks ago. Well,
it's absolutely massive. It's like any club at all. We just talked about JP Mateta and how important it is for your centre forward primarily to be the one scoring the goals. It doesn't have to be the centre forward. The goals can come from anywhere. They count the same. But if you've got your centre forward who's scoring regularly, and you know what he went through a few years ago with that head injury, I mean, well done for coming back and being psychologically in a place to be an elite footballer again. But absolutely, I think also that Emile Smith-Rowe, I mean, Josh King you mentioned earlier, and I think he's an incredible talent, but Emile Smith-Rowe has finally come to the party and is playing really well off him, so they're developing a really good relationship there. So I think between the two of them, plus you've got Harry Wilson, who's nothing short of sensational at the moment, the form he's in. He doesn't score normal goals, does he? It's only great goals that he seems to score, and he's a really good player. And I heard Dean Saunders talking about him this morning and saying what a player he is and how important he is for the Welsh team as well. There's a really good attacking threat here for Fulham.
Good attacking threat, but Kevin is a player that hasn't yet scored in the Premier League since that record signing on fee that that Fulham paid for him from Shakhtar. This, though, could be a brilliant opportunity for him. That right-hand side for Palace is all players that don't usually play there. Lerma at right centre-back, Klein as the wing-back, and Devaney. So could he really exploit that?
Absolutely. I think it's a really good point, and I think that is the case. I mean, look, Nathaniel Klein is an incredibly experienced player, and he can do a good job but he's no Daniel Munoz. And who I think, by the way, is one of the best right-sided players in the Premier League. I think he's that good. Jefferson Lerma can come in and do a job. He's not Chris Richards, but he can drop in there, and he has played it in that position before. I thought he did well when he had to do it against Arsenal in the Carabao Cup. And Justin Devaney, what an opportunity for him to try and show that he should be a regular. We talked about the lack of goals. Well, the number 10s haven't really stood up. Eddie Nketiah hasn't, and now he's out. Jeremy Pino, I don't think he's good enough, to be honest with you. Not a top end of the Premier League, which is where Crystal Palace kind of want to be. So what an opportunity for Justin Devaney. But conversely, absolutely, that right-hand side of Crystal Palace is certainly something that Fulham should be looking at to exploit.
Yeah, Nathaniel Klein is not a natural wing-back. And as a full-back yourself, Scott, you'll know how difficult that transition probably is from playing as a conservative traditional fullback and moving into a kind of more progressive wing-back position.
You clearly, you're too young to see me play, but clearly you have, Flo. No, I didn't like wing-back just because you had to do two positions. You had to take on the full-back and defend against the wing, and you almost had to be an athlete first and foremost. And Nathaniel Klein has been an athlete, and I'm not saying he's not anymore, but let's just say the years are ticking on, and he'd probably prefer to be playing right back.
And ahead of kick-off, there's going to be a minute applause around Selhurst Park for all the Palace and Fulham fans that have passed away during this calendar year. All the players just gathering round the centre circle for this moment. A nice moment just to remember all of those fans. Crystal Palace versus Fulham live here on Talksport 2. Kick-off seconds away. The Crystal Palace players in a huddle just on the edge of the centre circle. The Fulham players lined up in their formation, ready to go. The referee for today is Tony Harrington, and on VAR is Neil Davies. Then Crystal Palace's captain Mark Gay goes down on his knees and looks up to the heavens. Such a key player for them. The captain for Fulham is Joachim Andersen, a former Palace player himself, of course. Played over 100 times for the South London side. And it is Crystal Palace, the home side, who will be getting us underway here under the lights at Selhurst Park. Referee takes a look at both his watches on his wrist as Selhurst Park awaits the whistle. Cold, fresh evening here, and we are underway. Then Crystal Palace in their home strip, the red and blue shooting from right to left as we look. Fulham all in white, shooting the opposite direction as Palace from the kick-off fire it forward straight towards Fulham's penalty area, and it's hooked away by Kenny Tete, who combines well with Wilson as Fulham try to get the ball up the pitch. Crystal Palace seeking to end a 3-match Premier League losing run, their longest for 14 months. Their visitors, an in-form Fulham team who have made Selhurst Park a home away from home in recent years, unbeaten in their last 4 trips to South London. Former Chelsea defender Scott Minto alongside me, and in the William Hill odds. Lee Phelps was saying that odds on for a 0-0, but surely not.
Let's hope not. I do think it'll be tight. I think Crystal Palace, we talked about them not scoring too many goals recently, but what they can be very, very difficult to break down. Fulham in that rich vein of form, and they are playing at home. No, I think this is the game where both teams will try and go for it, but as it develops, and if there haven't been a goal, then it might be just one goal wins it.
Joachim Andersen has the ball at his feet. He conceded an own goal when these sides last met, and he fires it forward looking for Smith Rowe as it's pumped out of play by Nathaniel Klein. He's started all the games in the Premier League in the last 5 with Munoz out injured. Palace have it back, and nice combination between Smith Rowe and Raul Jimenez, who's one of the few players on the pitch wearing gloves, as is Kene Tete, who's on the ball now. It's on the halfway line with Sasha Lukic, Serbian international.
Not for me, that wearing gloves. Your big, strong centre forwards wearing gloves.
As Fulham try to get in down the left-hand side, the ball goes harmlessly out of play for a Crystal Palace goal kick. Oliver Glasner watching on from his technical area. This is his 70th Premier League game in charge of Crystal Palace. He is a revered manager in these parts for the job he has done of winning that FA Cup, the Community Shield, and this first European campaign that Crystal Palace are in. Palace on the ball on that far side with Jefferson Lerma, who's playing as a right-sided centre half despite being a central midfielder by trade. Palace's back 3, Lacroix, Gueye and Lerma just in front of Henderson, and then the wing-backs Mitchell and Klein, Wharton, Hughes, the 2 pivot midfielders, Devaney, Mateta and Pino up front for Palace. As for the Fulham starting 11, it's Leno in goal. This is his 131st successive Premier League start for Fulham since joining Arsenal. He's always been there in between the sticks for Fulham. Back 4, Robinson, Cuenca, Anderson and Tete. The midfield pivot is Sander Berge and Lukic, Smith Rowe in the 10, and the three forward players, Wilson on one side, Kevin on the other, and Jimenez the forward player, as Kevin interchanges the ball with Smith Rowe out on that left-hand side. It's played back to Joachim Andersen. All the players in the Palace half as Maxence Lacroix fires downfield for Crystal Palace. It's collected by Cuenca. This is his 4th start with Calvin Bassey away at AFCON, of course. 3 Nigerian players away for Fulham, and Nigeria will probably go far in that tournament, you'd suspect.
Been a good start in terms of possession and getting hold of the ball from Fulham.
Yeah, but a ball set into the Palace penalty area, and Smith Rowe got onto it, got the ball across, but no Fulham player had gambled, and if Jimenez had actually gambled to run in there, he would have had a chance.
Absolutely. Just mentioned about how Fulham seem to be stroking the ball from one side to the other, and then they played that vertical pass, a good run from Emma Smith Rowe down the left channel, and he just sort of poked his foot around Max Lacroix, didn't he, and just put the cross in. And if Raul Jimenez, as you say, if he gambled, why not? It would have been free, because Dean Henderson wasn't able to get the cross.
Early stages in this game, 4.5 minutes played. Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0, and Palace have a rather fortuitous corner kick here. Some early defending to do then for Fulham.
Well, when you're not scoring goals too freely in open play, then set pieces just so important. We know this season even more so. There's been lots of clubs, whether it's the long throw or the free kicks, corners, it's all about the delivery and then the want, the belief that you can be the first one to get there. So what a great opportunity for Palace after really them being in the back foot the first couple of minutes.
5 minutes on the clock, 0-0 the score. Adam Wharton over this corner. All the Palace players in the 6-yard box. It's an in-swinging one, doesn't beat the man at the front post, which was Sasha Lukic, and Fulham try and get it away. They gift it straight back though, and the ball put across the face of goal, cleared by Anderson, put back into the Fulham penalty area. And now the referee blows the whistle for a free kick, a foul in the box, but Fulham under a bit of pressure there.
Well, and rightly so, because Fulham started, as I say, stroking the ball around, playing at their pace, going from left to right, right to left, and then having that sort of half opportunity from Emile Smith-Rowe. So it was right for Palace to say, no, you're in our manner, we're going to try and be on the front foot as well. They're quite comfortable to be without the ball, Oliver Glasner's side, and their home form is not particularly great. The away form is certainly a lot better, and it's not just this season, it's been for a good few seasons, but yeah, need to get on the front foot.
As Palace try and set Tyreek Mitchell away down the left-hand side, but it's headed back to Leno by Harry Wilson. Yeah, and as you say, Palace are generally better away from home. Over 60% of their Premier League points this season have been taken on the road. And in fact, in this fixture, both Fulham and Crystal Palace have done better when they've been away from home. The away team is unbeaten in each of the last 9 Premier League meetings between these teams.
Yeah, I think it's one of those where both teams, when they're away from home, are quite comfortable, and not saying they haven't got the players to break teams down, but they're quite happy to just sit back, be organised, and then break at the counter when they want to, not necessarily because they're forced to, because they are the home side. So, we'll have to wait and see how Fulham. To be fair to them, they've come out, they wanted to boss it as if they've been the home side. It's almost playing like Fulham are playing at home and Crystal Palace away, but two styles with 2 different systems hopefully will make for an interesting game.
Free kick for Crystal Palace, around 10 yards inside the Fulham half. A foul by Sander Berge on Will Hughes, and it'll be a chance then for Jeremy Pino to lift the ball into the Fulham penalty area. All the Fulham players lined up on the edge of their box to play that high line, the offside trap, if they can. Just 1 goal for Pino in 16 Premier League games as he puts the ball into the penalty area towards the back post. Then it's too far for Lerma to get onto and sails harmlessly behind for a goal kick for the visitors.
Do you know what? It's not a bad ball, that. It's travelled 50 yards, so someone at the far post has got to get close to it. It's not as if it's completely overhit and it's gone way into the crowd. It's travelled enough for them to say, right, I'm going to get on the end of that. It's gone to the far post, and Fulham didn't defend it very well. Palace should have attacked it better. 8
minutes played. You're listening to Talksport 2. That's the voice of former Chelsea defender Scott Minto. It's Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0. Fulham in possession in the Palace half. Smith-Rowe turns and puts up a bit of pace, feeds Kevin in the penalty area. He cuts it back but finds Hughes rather than Wilson, and Hughes lifts it out for a throw-in for Fulham midway inside Palace's half.
He was just touching the back of his hamstring there. I don't know if it's his glutes or whether it's hamstring, but hopefully he'll be okay, Will Hughes.
Yeah, he does look to be trying to test out the elasticity of his hamstring. As Fulham take the throw into Jimenez. He tries to flick it round to Smith-Rowe. It's now with Adam Wharton, who just glides past Lukic. Such a wonderful player to watch, Adam Wharton. Will be in the England squad, of course, for the summer and the World Cup as Anthony Robinson tries to carry it forward for Fulham. Intercepted by Hughes, back to Maxence Lacroix. Here is Mark Gay on this, his 150th Premier League appearance for Crystal Palace. He scored the winner last time these sides met. He's on the ball again. He's got a white bandage strapped on his left hand. Plays it in field to Hughes. He spreads it out to Lerma. Lerma forward onto Nathaniel Klein, who's out on that far side on the halfway line. He plays it up to Devaney, dispossessed, and now Fulham will try and catch Palace on the counter. Here is the Brazilian Kevin, a nice bit of trickery. Spreads it out to Kenny Tete. Jimenez has made the run down the right-hand side. Made the curved run, but the through ball wasn't played. Tete still has it, back to Berge. Up to Anthony Robinson, 10 assists last season in the Premier League for USA International. Such a key player in terms of the creative output for Fulham. And as it strikes 10 minutes played, Leno passes the ball out to Joachim Andersen. Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0. New Year's Day here in the Premier League, and Selhurst Park is usually bouncing. It's a little bit quiet. A lot of people have a hangover post New Year's Eve, Scott.
I was just about to lead you towards what happened last night. So yes, I think a lot of people here are probably happy to get some fresh air, but probably still recovering from the festivities and whatever time they went to bed.
Might a goal waken them up? It's goalless here as things stand. Robinson with the ball midway inside Palace's half. Slides it into the left-hand channel looking for Smith Rowe, who won't get onto it. And Lacroix will let that roll out of play. We've spoken so much about Palace and how they've not been able to rotate as much as they perhaps would have liked with all the games they've got. Well, Lacroix has played the full 90 minutes in 29 of 30 games in all competitions this season for Palace.
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, there's a lot of players actually. What is it? The top four of players that have played the most minutes in the Premier League are all Crystal Palace players. You know, Mateta's in there, Gay's in there, and Dean Henderson. But yeah, Max Lacroix. And you talk about how are Palace going to replace Mark Gahey, and that will already be happening if it hasn't happened, you know, for a good few months. Well, they certainly replaced Rocky Manderson very well, didn't they, with Lacroix? So certainly be getting their spies out across Europe to see who can do that. But he is such an important player, Mark Gahey. You know, massive talent. Came to the club from Chelsea. I still don't understand why Chelsea didn't give him a proper go, and he's developed into arguably England's best centre-half right now.
Palace 0, Fulham 0. You're listening to Crystal Palace Fulham on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Don't forget that with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action flexibly, like Sunderland Manchester City, which is live tonight. Search Sky Sports.
I'll change arguably to is, by the way. Mark Gahey is England's best centre-half.
Palace with a throw-in in the left-back position. It's Tyreek Mitchell with the ball in his hands. He throws it to Will Hughes, who levers it away from danger. Now it's with Wharton. He's dispossessed by Smith Rowe. Wilson goes back to Anderson. Marco Silva on the edge of his technical area, shouting instructions at his Fulham side as Robinson is forced all the way back to Bernd Leno. 5 clean sheets for him, including back-to-back in the last 2 games for Bernd Leno. As it's helped on nicely to Berger. Fulham on the attack now, and the space opens up for the Norwegian. He slides it in, looking for Wilson, cut out just in time by Mitchell, and then picked up by Jefferson Lerma, who finds himself out on this left-hand side, and the ball goes behind for a goal kick for Palace.
Yeah, not suggesting in any way the players are out last night as well, but it's definitely played at second gear at the moment, isn't it? You know, it does need a goal or an incident to get the crowd going, to get this game going. Maybe 0-0's not such a bad shout in terms of the scoreline with the odds, but I think it's really important that for both these sides, I think it's a great opportunity for Fulham to carry on the brilliant run they're on at the moment and really try and get as close to those European places. So they will drop points at some point in the future. So while they're on the run, try and get the win. And for Crystal Palace, I mean, same thing really. Get back to winning ways after no wins in 5. You know, big playoffs, obviously, in the Europa Conference coming up.
Here are Fulham, though, and the ball across the face of goal by Jimenez. Kevin unable to latch onto it. I'll go out on that far side, right by the corner flag for a Crystal Palace throw. And decent ball in from Jimenez, although you probably want him on the end of that in the box rather than delivering that in. Yeah,
but at least he's making that movement. I mean, I do want my striker, especially if it's a single striker, to almost stay within the between the sticks, you know, between the goal posts, and then it's down to the 3 wide, or the 2 of the wide players and then the attacking player to find a way to get the ball in the box. And especially for Raul Jimenez, he's so good in the air. But you know, the 3 central defenders for Crystal Palace, certainly 2 of them are very good as well. So just at the moment they're just cancelling each other out, and no one's really got that urgency to say, I really want to get that first goal.
Mark Gahey in possession in his own half. The Crystal Palace ultra fans trying to get the crowd going with the drum behind Dean Henderson in goal for Palace, as Will Hughes plays it inside to Wharton. Nice quick incisive pass back to Lacroix. Quarter of an hour played. It is Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0 here on Talksport 2. Over on Talksport right now, Liverpool leads. You can just swipe across the Talksport app if you would rather listen to that one. Fulham try to set Kevin away, can't quite latch onto it. It's headed back to Dean Henderson's by Lacroix, and Kevin then goes down holding his face. I think he caught a stray arm from Lacroix then.
Well, he's gone down clutching his face, so the referee has to stop the game. I'm not quite sure. Looking at a replay now, maybe caught him a little bit, but I think there's a lot wrong with him, Flo, to be honest.
Yeah, looking on the replay, it does look rather innocuous, and I'm sure there's a lot more sore heads in this crowd than his.
Yeah. Look, I mean, when it's 0-0 like this, you're thinking, well, what needs to happen to create the spark? From Crystal Palace's point of view, we haven't seen Mateta get involved in the game. We haven't seen him run the channels at all. There's been no long ball towards him. Is that because of his movement, or he hasn't been played in at any point? Pino and Devaney, we talked about the opportunity for Devaney. They've not really got on the ball, found those little pockets of space, which is what you want as a number 10 to be able to do in this system. Brennan Johnson coming in, or Ismail Sarr, certainly Ebre Eze, obviously, how good he was at that. So those two players haven't got involved as well. And you look, you've got Klein on one side and Mitchell on the other. They're not goal scorers. Hughes and Wharton, they're not goal scorers. So it needs to come from those three. Obviously, Wharton and Hughes are very good in terms of that creative pass, but at the moment, we've one, not seen the movement, or two, the ability to find pockets of space. From Fulham's point of view, I talked about Emil Smith-Rowe. He's had the one opportunity to make he put the cross in, not necessarily to score himself, and he did really well, but he's not got involved too much. Harry Wilson, the form he's in, want to see him involved a little bit more. So just from a defensive point of view, both teams would be very happy, but it's almost as if they're scared to concede rather than really going to try and get that first goal. And that first goal, I think, as the game develops even more like this at 0-0, it's going to become so important, because you can clearly see, if they really want to be, the defences are on top.
Kevin back up on his feet on the sidelines. He has to go off with the physio, as is the rules if you have a head injury. 17 minutes played. Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0. Don't forget the darts quarterfinals continue from Ali Pally on Talksport app and the Talksport Darts YouTube channel. The action gets underway from 7 this evening. Will Hughes plays the ball into Wharton in the centre circle. He spreads it out to Nathaniel Klein on that right hand side. His ball across, blocked by Smith-Rowe, and then Robinson tries to head it back into the path of Smith-Rowe. Up now to Mateta on the edge of the penalty area, trying to create a half yard to shoot as the ball stolen off his toe. And now here come Fulham, but Jefferson Lerma intercepts the ball that was targeted for Smith-Rowe. It's a poor clearance then from Maxence Lacroix, which allows Jimenez to spray the ball out to Harry Wilson on this right hand side. He's dispossessed. Here is Mateta. Feeds it into Devaney. Devaney goes round Cuenca, and Cuenca brings down Devaney. Free kick for Crystal Palace, and the yellow card, the first yellow card of the game for Jorge Cuenca.
Well, since Kevin got up, both sides just had a little bit more, didn't they? Fulham were trying to get the ball out right wide to Harry Wilson. Well done to Tyreek Mitchell for not allowing him to get the ball down, not just the first time, but the second time where he nicked the ball off him. And then you're thinking Crystal Palace on the counter-attack, and yeah, let's just say it was a very professional foul from Cuenca and a definite yellow card. Too far out really to have a pop straight away. So it might, and it's kind of in front of goal, but it's about 45 yards out. If he tries to shoot from here, this would be goal of the season.
And the players over it are Jeremy Pino and Adam Wharton, although Adam Wharton trots away from it. It looks like it will be Pino, and it does.
It looks like he's going to have a pop.
It does look like he's going to have a pop. It's about 45 yards out, as Scott mentioned. Very central position. Here goes Jeremy Pino. He dinks it towards the back post instead, and it's booted out by Jimenez. Kevin can't beat Mitchell in the air, and Kevin can only see it out of play for a Crystal Palace throw-in on that far side.
Yeah, look, I think the stats say it all at the moment, don't they? No shots on or off target from either side. Expected goals, 0 on both sides. So, yeah, there's no doubt about it. The attacking players need to get more involved. But I don't think... It's almost as if both managers have said, look, let's be solid first 20 and then see what happens after that. And now they're struggling to try and kick on into second and third gear.
Long throw then from Jefferson Lerma, and it goes to the Fulham penalty area, flicked on, but then helped out by Anderson. Fulham struggling to get the ball out of their box. Put across goal, Leno with a hand, and a hand to tip it onto the roof of his own net. Corner for Crystal Palace.
Well, it's better from Palace, isn't it? Long throw in, flick on, well defended in the end from Fulham, but they kept it in there, Palace. A little dink in towards the goal, and Bert Leno, I think he could have caught that. He's tipped it over and put his team under a little bit more pressure with another corner.
Palace 0, Fulham 0 here on Talksport 2. 20 minutes played. Adam Wharton with the corner. In-swinger lifts it into that dangerous area. Out it goes, though, by a Fulham player. It was Anderson, put back into the Fulham penalty area. This time Mateta couldn't get there ahead of Sander Berger, and the flag is up for offside against Mateta. Free kick for Fulham in their own penalty box.
Well, you shouldn't be offside there. You should be able to look along the line and make sure you stay onside. But, I mean, it's a really good ball in from Adam Wharton with that corner. Headed out, and then he's got the ball down and flicked the ball towards the far post again. And as I say, Mateta, I think he's a really good player. On his day, he's up there. He's up there. You know, there's only Haaland, really, I can think of the top of my head, who's definitely better. But he can be an absolute handful. He's got to look along the line and stay onside.
Leno thumps the ball downfield looking for Jimenez, who gets the flick onto Wilson, who plays it through for Kevin. Through on goal here. Flag is not raised, and then it is. Kevin will finish anyway. No, he won't. It's saved by Henderson. But a well-worked move from Fulham. Kevin just judged to be a fraction offside.
I'll tell you what, it's interesting the flag went up early because it was quite tight. I mean, say about a yard. It was quick when it happened, but even a yard, you've seen last year or so, the flag stayed down, see what happens. But very decisive, should we say, from the referee's assistant, and absolutely spot on.
In the only other 5:30 kick-off today, it's still Liverpool 0, Leeds 0. You can listen to full coverage of that on Talksport. Here on Talksport 2, though, it's 22 minutes played. Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0. Both sides a little tentative in their approach so far. Neither goalkeeper has had to really make a save. Bernd Leno tipped a cross onto the roof of his net, but that really the most action in terms of actionable moments in the penalty area. Palace in possession.
Sounds like Liverpool Leeds is a similar one as well, isn't it? I think most players would rather have played on New Year's Eve than New Year's Day, and not in any way. I'm sure they were probably in a hotel, but just New Year's Eve, you have that kind of still happy feel. New Year's Day, I don't know. It looks as if you've got two teams here who, at this moment in time, just can't get themselves out of this lethargy that they've started with.
Often when you've got these busy schedules and games constantly, you either get really wild games, don't you, like 4-4 or something, or you get games where neither side's able to quite muster the energy. But here comes Kevin down the left-hand side for Fulham, gets past one of the players, ball across, finds Smith Rowe, couldn't find the contact. Wilson at the back post, volleys. Jimenez on the follow-up is wide. Goal kick for Crystal Palace. Best chance of the game for either side, and a flurry of opportunities for Fulham.
Absolutely, and well done, Kevin, for creating that opportunity. Got there down the left-hand side, and he's whipped the ball across. First of all, it's Emma Smith Rowe who's just brought the ball down, run with it, laid it to Kevin. He's got past Klein. He's then got the cross in. Little touch from Smith Rowe. It didn't look like he was trying to shoot himself, but went to the far post. Harry Wilson on his right foot. Half volley, really good strike, but it's straight at Henderson, who does well with his strong hands. It comes back out to Raul Jimenez, and in the end he doesn't hit the target. But that's much better from Fulham, and something we know they're capable of, and we want to see from both sides a little bit more of.
Small pause in play. There's the referee held play. I might have been checking for something, but it was all cleared, and we're back underway as Mateta gets the flick on, but it's through instead to a Fulham player. And here come Fulham again, spread out to Wilson. Touches it with the outside of his foot and goes back to Joachim Andersen. And we speak about Kevin and the good moment he had there. He's actually ranked second highest in successful dribbles per 90 in the Premier League. The problem is it's not really been the numbers, the output, 0 goals or assists in the Premier League since signing from Shakhtar in the summer. Here's Kenny Tete up to Wilson. Tete then goes back to Joachim Andersen, who fires it forward, straight on through to Lerma, who chests it down to Dean Henderson, the goalkeeper for Crystal Palace. This is 75th Premier League appearance for Crystal Palace. 25 minutes played. Palace 0, Fulham 0. Both these sides still looking to get going. They have scored in each of their last 7 Premier League games. Fulham in a good run as well. 3 games on the bounce in the Premier League. Started when they beat Burnley 3-2. They followed that up with a 1-0 win over Forest, then a 1-0 win last time up against West Ham. Ball's in the centre circle, won't quite settle for either side, but then Smith Rowe helps it back to Jimenez, who's just trots inside his own half. He surveys the options. Harry Wilson made a beautiful curling run. Mitchell had gone with him. The ball wasn't played, and he's a player that looks to make things happen. Harry Wilson, a couple of times he's made some good out to in runs, and he's not been played the ball.
They're nightmare runs as well, Flo, from a defending point of view, because you're looking at the ball and you know you've got to look at the man as well. The moment you look back at the ball again and he's made that run, suddenly if the ball comes over the top or just inside you and the centre half, and he's got half a yard on you, very difficult, especially with Harry Wilson's pace as well, to catch him.
And Tete plays the ball forward looking for Wilson, latches onto it, takes him away from goal towards the corner flag. Cross in, deflected off Mitchell, headed clear by Gay, flicked on by Pino. And now Palace might be on the break, but Cuenca is there to mop up. Fulham back in possession with Smith Rowe. Are the away side building something? Kevin drives towards goal, out to Robinson. Robinson whips the ball in at the back post. Mitchell heads it behind for a corner before Harry Wilson could get there.
It's better now. Since Kevin went down and we had that sort of stoppage of play, it's definitely better, and it's Fulham who have been the better side going forward. They look dangerous down the left-hand side, don't they, either with Kevin or Anthony Robinson as well. And again, we talk about Anthony Robinson, how good he is, the overlaps he does, the crosses he can put in. It's a great cross to the far post, and really good defending from his opposite number, Tyreek Mitchell.
Fulham corner. They've scored 7 goals from corners. Only 3 teams have scored more from the corners than Fulham, as Wilson takes it short to Lukic. He lays it back to Wilson, who's curling delivery towards the back post, is headed out by Lacroix, collected by Cuenca, who then lifts the ball back post looking for Anderson. He heads it back across goal. Can Palace clear? And then a foul on Will Hughes as he tries to clear. Sasha Lukic just went steaming and then took out Will Hughes. Free kick. Palace in their own penalty box.
Yeah, I mean, Crystal Palace need to try and get hold of the ball a little bit more. It's Fulham who are just starting to step it up a little bit. Talked about gears. Started in first, both of these teams, about the first 20 minutes. Just in the last 5 or 10, though, it has been Fulham for sure stepping it up, and they look more likely to score, but still not really testing Dean Henderson too much, apart from that one right foot shot from Harry Wilson.
You're listening to Crystal Palace Fulham on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, they're here for it. 0-0 the score then. Edging towards the half an hour mark. Palace in possession with Lerma. He finds Wharton, who finds Hughes, who again is fouled by Lukic. Will Hughes made his 150th Palace appearance last time out against Spurs. It was not a happy occasion as they lost in a rather drab game and were perhaps a little unfortunate. Although Spurs did have 2 disallowed goals, both from Richarlison, both of which he celebrated before VAR cruelly ruled them out. As Gay plays the ball over the top, looking for Mitchell down the left-hand side. Wilson with the header. It's collected by Pino, but he instead allows it to go out for a throw-in for Crystal Palace. It looks like Jefferson Lerma will come over to take the long throw-in.
It's another way, isn't it? Talking about set pieces. When it's an open play, difficult to break teams down, and it's Palace who are finding it more difficult to break down Fulham than the other way round. Why not just stick the ball in the box, get the flick on, create havoc, see what happens.
Goalless here between Palace and Fulham. Lerma trots up, takes the long throw in. It's headed out by Wilson, doesn't beat the first man. Klein then nods it back to Lerma. He knocks it forward, and free kick's given Fulham's way. And I think Jeremy Pino might be feel a little bit unfortunate there.
Yeah, he was offside. That was what it was in the first place. I think Tete did climb all over him, but obviously the offside offence happens first. And again, it's something which he should be looking across the line or just making sure he's definitely onside when Crystal Palace are in a position when they haven't had many opportunities to get into Fulham's half, certainly final third. Got to stay onside.
Half an hour played. Palace 0, Fulham 0 here in the Premier League on Talksport 2. Here's Jean-Philippe Mateta for Palace. Deep inside his half. Here's Gay now. Out to Pino on the left-hand side, edging towards the penalty area. Plays it into Mitchell, ball across his cutout, it's bobbling around, will it break? Saved by Leno, breaks back to Will Hughes, cries of shoot! And the shot comes in, but it is wide. Best moment for Palace so far.
Absolutely, by a million miles. It's much better from Crystal Palace now, with a couple of long throws, getting into the box, whip the ball across the box. Fulham haven't defended it well at all. I think it's Mark Gahey on the 6-yard box who's had the opportunity. It's a really good save from Bernd Leno. Comes out really quickly. A good play from Palace down the left. Ball whipped in, not defending well. He's free, he's on his left foot, but he's got to take it quickly, Mark Gahey. And in the end, it's a good save from the goalkeeper.
I tell you what, in that passage of play, there was a challenge on Will Hughes where he was taken out, and they're checking VAR here for a possible penalty. It did look on the replays like he might be outside the box. It looked like a foul. A foul wasn't given, but whether it's inside the box, what do you think, Scott?
Well, he takes the touch. I think it's outside the box. I think it is a foul, but I think it's outside the box. So yeah, play on.
VAR has cleared that then, no penalty, and on we go as the ball goes out to Kevin on that left-hand side. It's broken for Smith Rowe. He then hops it on to Robinson. It's currently Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0. And for the latest odds, head to William Hill, the official betting partner of Talksport 2's Premier League coverage, where right now you can get Palace a 6-4 to win as a long-range effort comes in, and Tyreek Mitchell will head it clear. And insofar as Tete, whose volley is then over. Fulham are 21-10. The draw is 7-4. That's all thanks to William Hill. 18+ gambleaware.org.
Oh, actually, a game of football's breaking out now, and we're getting opportunities at both ends. First of all, Crystal Palace having that opportunity, and Bernd Leno making a really good save. And Kenny Tete, the ball bounces up on the edge of the box to the right-hand side. He waits for it to drop. He doesn't quite wait long enough. That split second makes such a difference, which means that by the time he struck the ball, it was always going over in the end. But at least, I mean, Fulham have been better for the last 5-10 minutes, and at least Palace is starting to play now.
Here is Smith Rowe, midway inside his own half. He dribbles away from his England teammate Wharton, goes back to Leno, who hits a long ball, and Palace will head it back to their goalkeeper Henderson. He bowls it out to Gahey. Here's Will Hughes, who, had he have been a yard further forward, probably would have got a penalty for that earlier moment. Long balls up to Jean-Philippe Matete, who's had a quiet first half an hour. Tyreek Mitchell now tries to feed it back to Hughes. Tete gets it under control. Neither side able to quite get the ball under control as the free kick is given to Crystal Palace, and Marco Silva is fuming and he's got his arms aloft screaming at the referee. Outside of his technical area will be a free kick though for Crystal Palace, just inside the touchline on this left-hand side, just inside Fulham's half.
He was fuming, wasn't he? I don't know why, but he realises it's a great opportunity. Crystal Palace, very good side in the last couple of seasons, but their home form isn't great, and they are there for the taking with no wins in 5, and extremely tired with the lack of strength and depth that they've got in the amount of games they're playing.
Free kick was taken short, and then it's cleared, and Palace will have to build from the back again. And they've got a tough set of fixtures coming up actually for them as well. Liverpool at home next in the Premier League, then Chelsea at home. So this they might see as a fixture where they can get big points ahead of those big games. Throw in for Fulham, it's Kenny Tete. This evening on the Talksport network, stick with us. 8 p.m. it's Brentford Tottenham, that's a Talksport exclusive, and on Talksport 2 it's Sunderland Manchester City, also an 8 p.m. kickoff. Here's Harry Wilson for Fulham, the man that so often has made things happen in recent weeks for them. Jimenez finds Smith Rowe, he feeds it out to Kevin, ball down the line looking for Robinson, is intercepted by Lerma and out for a throw in on that far side for the visitors. Fulham, Robinson will be the man to take it, throws it back to Berger, the player with the most minutes of any outfield player for Fulham this campaign. Fulham, of course, are missing Iwobi, Chukwueze and Bassi, all away with Nigeria, who are into the round of 16 of AFCON. Here's Tete, though. There's white shirts in the penalty area. He's on the corner of the box. 2 Palace players around him. He goes backwards instead. Here's Jorge Cuenca on a yellow card for that earlier challenge. The only player to have picked up a caution so far as we're into the final 10 minutes of this first half here on New Year's Day. Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0.
I think that sums it up as well, doesn't it? Only one yellow card. Shows the game it's been. Players not looking like they've been really, really up for this. Definitely not a cup final. Just sort of sitting back, playing within themselves. Just in the last 5-10 minutes, the game has started to open up a little bit.
All a bit pedestrian from both sets of players, both unchanged from the last game as well. There's always the discussion around rotation and player minutes. Well, with both sides unchanged, they don't really have that excuse. Here is Mark Gay. He sprays it out to Nathaniel Klein. Maxence Lacroix in the centre circle. Fulham have dropped deep into their shape, and this seems to be the pattern of the game. One side has a small spell of possession and momentum, and the other side drops deep and just soaks up the pressure until they win the ball back, and then the roles reverse.
Do you know what we're seeing, Flo? We're seeing a team that have individuals that are not willing to receive the ball with a man on them and take them on. So beat your individual man, and then suddenly everything opens. It's just the moment they get closed down, it's pass, pass, pass. The opposition team shuffles across, they go back round the other way. It's not enough vertical passes, and I'm thinking straight away Adam Wharton. You know, he's someone who normally looks for that all the time, but he hasn't as yet got on the ball. Will Hughes is another one, and yeah, at the moment it's just all too sort of just play to the nearest man. No one's willing to take that risk to take on the person, and that which will then open up some opportunities for a possible goal.
Boos ringing around Selhurst Park as Jorge Cuenca went down holding his face, so the referee stopped play, and now the referee's telling him he needs to come off the pitch to come back on it, which he doesn't want to do. He's quickly got back up on his feet, but those are the rules. If you've got a head injury, you have to go off.
Yeah, he's not happy, is he, Cuenca? But if you're going to go down and you want a bit of attention, then you've got to go back on.
And he did halt not necessarily a threatening Crystal Palace move, but Crystal Palace were in possession and the momentum was with them.
Yeah, I mean, they were going from left to right to right to left to left to right, but yeah.
There's been a goal in the Championship. Sheffield United leading Leicester City by a goal to nil. Jafat Tanganga with the goal there. And earlier this afternoon, leaders Coventry held at Charlton. Ipswich beat Oxford to go second. As we're back underway here, Cuenca not able to come back on. And here is Klein driving into the box. Ball across, looking for Mateta, who heads it low down into the bottom corner. And Crystal Palace are in front. And that little goal drought for Mateta is over as he goes over and kicks the corner flag. Palace lead Fulham by a goal to nil.
There we go. Nathaniel Klein gets the ball. It's actually a little bit of a heavy touch, which then brings in Anthony Robinson, but he nicks the ball past him. And that's the moment I'm talking about someone wanting to take someone on and what can open up, especially in the position where he was in, right side of the pitch, just around the 18-yard box. He whips in a great ball, and then we know what Mateta is. He's a big, he's strong, and if he gets the right movement, he just peels off his central defender, and he's absolutely free. Kenny Tete can't come across. Good play from Klein, gets past Robinson. Robinson can't allow him to come in that way, but he does, and by that he's able to put in a really, really good cross straight at Mateta, who just has to get it on target, and he goes underneath Bernd Leno. But it's all about Nathaniel Klein, that goal. Brilliant, getting past the person he's up against, which then creates that opportunity, and a great cross come in.
And all that happened with Jorge Cuenca, Fulham's centre-back, off the pitch because he had to go off with that head injury. Had a massive complaint to the referee after that. But Crystal Palace lead Fulham by a goal to nil, and Jean-Philippe Mateta back amongst the goals.
Well, whether you're down to 10 men or not, and you certainly don't want your centre-half to be off, you have to defend that better. You have to get someone to come in, and that's where the leaders come in. Right, you come in, you drop in here.
And the crowd is up now. Here's Tyreek Mitchell, corner of the penalty box on the left, plays it in field, looking for Pino. His touch is heavy, tries to set it back. Here's Gay, cries of shoes on the edge of the box. Wharton plays it through to Devaney. He's dispossessed in the penalty area. Game's come alive now, Scott Minto.
Absolutely. And the fans have come alive, and rightly so. I mean, the players haven't really given them anything here, but now they haven't. Actually, you could argue is against a little bit the run of play. Fulham certainly look more dangerous going forward, but just in the last few minutes, Crystal Palace have upped it a bit. And as I say, what we're looking for is someone just to break that line, to beat their immediate person they're up against, and that's what Nathaniel Clyne did against Anthony Robinson. Talked about how much I like Anthony Robinson as a player, but that's poor defending. You can't let him go past you in the way that he did.
5 minutes to go till half-time. Crystal Palace leading by a goal to nil. Jean-Philippe Mateta no longer on that goal drought. It's his 18th Premier League goal in 2025. I say that, but it's actually 2026 today. So he scored 17, in the last calendar year. Only Erling Haaland scored more.
Well, he's ahead of Erling Haaland in 2026, isn't he?
For now. They play later, of course, against Sunderland. That is live on the Talksport network. Crystal Palace have a free kick then. Around 15-20 yards inside Fulham's half. Jeremy Pino and Adam Wharton are over it. The Palace faithful sounding a lot more chirpier now as Pino raises one hand in the air. All the players on the edge of the box await it. In it comes, good looking delivery up when Jean-Philippe Mateta couldn't quite get there. And will it break for Palace in the box? No, it won't. Hooked away by Fulham. And here now is Harry Wilson, and white shirts are flooding forward, but Wilson delays and instead tries to spread it out to Kevin, who tries to flick round the corner looking for Robinson. He's fouled. Play on though as Fulham have the ball. The referee plays advantage. That's his right. Here is Jimenez now, and he tries a little flick with the outside of his boot to Teke. It doesn't quite come off. Throw in for Palace in their own half.
Yeah, and it's a simple pass as well. Instead of just using his left foot, he's trying to flick it with the outside of his right and not able to get the precision on what should be a simple 5-yard pass. I mean, I didn't. It was a great crossfield pass from Anthony Robinson, but I don't really think. Talked about your strikers to be in between the sticks, and certainly in between the lines of the 18-yard box. And he's pulling out a little bit too far for me, Raul Jimenez. Leave that to the wide players. You stay in the middle and wait for the ball to come in.
Tete wins the header against Mateta. And that goal for Jean-Philippe Mateta is his first ever career goal against Fulham. On this, his 8th appearance against them. So that's another Premier League club ticked off in terms of scoring against them. As the ball goes back to Henderson, he bowls it out to Lerma. Lerma up to Devaney. And then the ball slid through, and here's Jean-Philippe Mateta again. Is he in? No, he's not. Cuenca gets ahead of him and pokes it away. Anthony Robinson with the header in field looking for Smith Rowe, but it's back with Lerma, and Crystal Palace moving the ball around with a little bit more confidence. They feel more in control now they're in front. Yeah, they are. And just going back to the goal, and there's no doubt about it, if you are going to concede a goal, the last person you want coming off after the goalkeeper is, which wouldn't happen anyway, they'd wait, is your centre half. So you've got to organise better. I just wonder how many seconds there were between him going off and actually the goal. Here's Gay, tries to feed it into Devaney, cut out by Cuenca. Lerma now on the halfway line. It feels like Fulham need to get to half-time without conceding another one. We've got a minute left, and we're hearing there's going to be 4 minutes of injury time on the end of the first 45. Because it's meant to be 30 seconds, isn't it? You've got to go off for 30 seconds. So, yeah, I didn't have the stopwatch on, but I would imagine it would have been close to those 30 seconds before Cuenca was allowed on. I wouldn't want to be the one to ask Marco Silva about that in the post-match. As the ball's put in looking for Mateta, headed away, and Kevin can't clear, and Nathaniel Clyne on the follow-up catches the volley rather awkwardly into the ground, and it's wide. Did have Bernd Leno diving though. It was much better from Crystal Palace now, isn't it? Good ball whipped in, Nathaniel Clyne bombing on as a right wing back, and even having the confidence to try and volley it on his left foot, almost 18 yards out. Didn't catch it properly, but still, it's positive psychologically from Crystal Palace. The fourth official puts up the board then. 4 minutes, confirmation of that. Fulham looking a little ragged. They trail by a goal to nil right at the end of this first half. Live here on Talksport 2. Here comes Smith Rowe over the halfway line. Shows too much of it though to Lerma. And Lerma now edges forward but has no forward pass, so goes back instead to Adam Wharton, who is fouled by Lukic, just caught the back of his heels as he tried to escape free kick Palace.
Well, Palace just need to see this out now, get to half-time 1-0. I don't think they deserve to be one up, but it doesn't really matter what you deserve. They've found a way to get that goal.
Here's Wharton now, out to Mitchell on the left-hand side. Will he try and cross it? No, he goes back to Pino. Pino with the curling effort towards the back stick. Leno was going, but saw it was going wide, so let it go behind for the goal kick.
Yeah, I mentioned about Pino, and he's really struggled, I think, to prove he's a really good Premier League player. But you can see the quality. He's very good at set pieces. He's got great right foot. Whether it's a dead ball or on the move, he's whipped in a fantastic ball in there where Leno doesn't feel he can get to it. And it's just a little bit over Mateta. So unlucky there.
Half-time in the Championship, it's Sheffield United 1, Leicester City 0. Half-time elsewhere in the Premier League, Liverpool 0, Leeds United 0. Palace leading by a goal to 0 here, and here is Will Hughes, 30 yards from goal in a central position. Sprays it out to Pino in the penalty area, but he's wide. Standing up is Tete, plays it in for Hughes, who caught it well with his left foot, but it just spins away from the post and out and behind for the goal kick. Fulham hanging on till half-time.
Yeah, well, I say that Palace need to see this out for 1-0. It's Fulham who need to see this out for 1-0, because Palace get the second goal. The way Fulham have been playing in this half anyway, not as if they've been particularly bad, but they've struggled to break down the Crystal Palace defence. I think a second goal will be difficult for them to come back. In the end, Bernd Leno was happy that Will Hughes' shot went wide.
Leno fires it out to Kevin on that left-hand side. Kevin's in space up against Lacroix. Finds Smith Rowe in the box. His ball across. Cut out before it could find its target by Gay. Throw in for Fulham right at the end of this first half. 90 seconds remaining. It's going to be a long throw-in from Anthony Robinson. Forward goes Cuenca. In fact, forward are both the centre-backs for Fulham, as Robinson just kicks a loose ball that had rolled back onto the pitch off, and he takes a couple of steps back. There's not a massive run-up you can have here at Selhurst Park, and in goes the long throw-in, cleared though by Mateta, the goal scorer. And here's Kevin now, bit of space, wraps his foot round it, punched away, volley comes back in, that's blocked, and then it breaks for Henderson. Fulham, decent opportunity at the end of this first half, caught well by Kevin.
Yeah, it's a really good strike from Kevin.
And now forward it goes, and Will Hughes thought he was in, but out came Leno to head the danger away. Will Hughes came out of nowhere there.
He did, yeah. That long kick meant that would have been a counter-attack goal for sure.
Henderson could have had an assist, but here comes Palace. Devaney out to Pino. On his right foot, he tries to wrap it round him, and then it ricochets and fell at the feet of Mitchell. Couldn't control it. Leno rolls it out. Rather frantic end to this first half after what was a slow burner, really, the first half an hour. Here's Smith Rowe, finds Kevin. Those two try and combine off a Palace player. And out the ball goes for a throw. And into the final 10 seconds here. Chance perhaps for one final Fulham opportunity as they come forward with Tete down this right-hand side. Infield to Anderson. He leaves it. Combines with Lukic. The ball goes out. And the referee brings the first half to a close here at Selhurst Park then. Rather slow game to get going, but Crystal Palace are in front through Jean-Philippe Mateta. Back amongst the goals, Nathaniel Klein broke away down the right-hand side. Jorge Cuenca was off the pitch after he went down with a head injury, and Mateta headed into the back post. Half-time, Crystal Palace 1, Fulham 0. Scott Minto, your thoughts on that first period?
Yeah, look, it's not been a classic, but in a way we can't expect it to be after the heavy Christmas schedule. But it was Fulham who looked like probably more dangerous after the first 20 minutes, nothing really happening. But Crystal Palace, fair play to them, they found a way to score the goal. We talked about how it just pass. You need someone to break the lines, to beat the man they're up against, and that's exactly what Nathaniel Klein did. Poor defending, I have to say, from Anthony Robinson, but then a great cross in from Klein. And with Cuenca off the pitch, there's no doubt about it that they would have been better organised and maybe would have been able to get some kind of challenge on Mateta, who had an absolute free header. Then he's got just direct it on target, and Leno's got no chance. And actually, after that, it looked like Palace felt they could go and get the seconds. And I'll talk about how Palace just want to get into half-time at 1-0. I think in the end it was Fulham who were happy to get into half-time at 1-0. So, yeah, we've had a game broken out.
Fulham with a couple of half chances, Kevin with a long-range shot. But Harry Wilson hasn't really been able to get involved in the game. And what did Fulham need to do in the second period?
Well, I just want to mention the challenge right at the end, which we didn't have time because of the quick counter-attack from Palace. First of all, we talked about the shot from Kevin that was saved from Henderson. It was a wicked, vicious, dipping shot, but it was straight at Henderson in the way, who, just parried it out. And we went straight to Harry Wilson, who was only 8 yards out. He took a touch and tried to absolutely hammer it. And I don't think actually Henderson would have had a chance. The Kwa came across and made just a brilliant challenge, and quite often you don't really talk about that too much. From a defender's point of view, I want to, because I think he stopped a goal there. I think we'd be going in at half-time at 1-1, so that's a brilliant challenge from Lacroix. What did Fulham need to do? Well, Raul Jimenez, for me, needs to stay a little bit more central. I understand he's not receiving the ball, but it's not down to him to pull off really wide, because then if the ball does go in, there's no one there. Emil Smith-Rowe needs to get much more involved. Harry Wilson as well, we talked about the goal-scoring spree he's on right now, and yet he's been well shackled, you have to say. Kevin actually probably looks the most dangerous of those four attacking players, and that's something we wouldn't have expected at the start of the game. So, yeah, from an attacking point of view, individually and collectively, there's no little pattern to play. We saw one time Kevin and Anthony Robinson building up well, and a good cross coming in from Robinson. Need to see more of that with Jimenez and one other in the box, ready to head it in the way that Mateta did for their goal.
Well, Jean-Philippe Mateta and Crystal Palace had a brilliant 2025, and again it's Jean-Philippe Mateta amongst the goals for them on New Year's Day. Half-time, Crystal Palace lead Fulham by 1-0. You're listening to Game Day exclusive live on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Don't forget that with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action flexibly, like Sunderland, Manchester City live tonight. Search Now Sports.
Game Day exclusive on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Stream over 50 live Premier League games flexibly with Now. Search Now Sports. 18 plus. Stream via internet. Terms apply.
Hi, just leaving work now. Sorry it's a bit loud. Basically, so I was thinking we could get Mackey's tonight. Had a Big Mac on my mind all day, and delivery fee on the app is now from 99p. So, you in? Of course you are. Ha, love you. Bye.
Exclusively on the McDonald's app. 18 plus. Service fee and small order fee may apply. Participating restaurants. Serving times and T's and C's apply.
Incredible scenes here at the Village Hotel's Pub and Grill. Fans are taking their place in the fan zone with stadium-style seating, amazing views on huge screens, and we're underway. Lovely bit of dribbling there as she tackles the burger stack. Now they're getting down the wings. Sticky barbecue. Unbelievable. Oh, and he's hit the bar. And it's there! His favourite ice-cold beer. What a result!
Catch every game live in the Pub and Grill at Village.
Get in!
Find out more at villagehotels.com.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Sipping a morning coffee out on the terrace. Good morning, Mr. Squirrel.
Morning!
The kids building a tree, playing on the lawn.
We're playing real-life football!
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
Oh, he's really opened up the Sun newspaper there, Jim. No question, Clive. Straight in the middle and right into the free pull-out goals. Goals, yes. The ultimate football coverage with the best expert writers. In-depth tactical analysis. Unrivaled coverage from every league and all the latest football action. Think you've said it all there, Clive. Sorry, Jim. Not to worry, I was reading my copy of Goals anyway. Get your free copy of Goals every Saturday, Sunday and Monday only in the Sun.
Imagine a place where you can escape for a day. Get immersed in a world of rooms, inspiration and expertise. Where you can laze in luxury accommodation. And kids can feast from 95 pence. Tickets are free to everyone and include all the attractions. You've just imagined a day out at IKEA. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
It's another day at Screwfix, and Sir Mo Farah is still getting to grips with things.
So, Mo, with Sprint Delivery, we get the order to them in as little as 20 minutes. Okay? Mo?
Mo? Done. He was on the 18th floor.
Nice work. But, we use delivery riders, right?
Oh, now you tell me.
Sprint it in as little as 20 minutes. Screwfix. No stopping you. Conditions and geographical restrictions apply.
Game day exclusive on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it. Book now at enterprise.co.uk.
This Saturday, leave behind the dank, rank monotony of the weekday. The spirit of Saturday is upon us. Rise up.
It's big-ticket live Premier League football you can't afford to miss.
Saturday is game day.
What a strike!
One spectacular pitch performance you can't hear anywhere else.
Exclusive full-match commentary of Leeds versus Manchester United.
Game day exclusive.
This Saturday on Talksport.
The unstoppable force of live football. The Premier League live on Talksport 2.
Foden in the back post, scores! 4 for Manchester City!
This month will define the qualification for the Champions League, in which position. And in the Premier League, it's try to be close to the top of the league.
Lays it to the edge of the box, Xhaka deflected, and in!
I hope we'll use the previous experience away to get better in this game.
Into Reinders. Reinders slips it under the goalkeeper and pokes it in brilliantly.
Right for an effort from Talby! Sunderland lead at Anfield. This is the Premier League. This is Talksport, and it's about to heat up again.
You're listening to Game Day exclusive live on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, they're here for it. It's Crystal Palace 1, Fulham 0 at half-time here at Selhurst Park. We'll have full second-half commentary to come, but following us, we bring you another game in the Premier League as Manchester City travel to Sunderland, looking to extend their winning run to 9 games in all competitions. The former Sunderland defender Mickey Gray is alongside John Dunn as they preview that game.
Here we are at the Stadium of Light. 8 o'clock kick-off live commentary on Talksport 2. Sunderland unbeaten here at the Stadium of Light on their Premier League return, and only 2 teams have conceded less than the Mackems so far in the Premier League. City arriving, having won their last 8 games in all competitions. A win tonight, they will be within 2 points of leaders Arsenal. Mickey Gray is alongside me, former England international, ex-Sunderland player, our North West correspondent. Perfectly placed to review both of these teams, Mickey. You've seen so much of them. What do you expect tonight?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, John, isn't it? I think if you look at Sunderland, yes, of course, at the Stadium of Light, they've not lost here, but you have to bring into the conversation the amount of players that are away with AFCON. Dan Ballard, who's probably been one of Sunderland's better players this season, may be missing. So it's a bit of a shame, because I think everybody will be up for this game. When a club like Man City comes to the Stadium of Light, this place will erupt. But I think when you look at the form of Manchester City and knowing that they have to try and stay on the coattails of Arsenal, this is an important win for Pep Guardiola. It really is. And he will be going all out tonight to try and pick up those 3 points and keep this run going that they've got at the moment.
We saw what the win meant to him at Nottingham Forest over the weekend. It put them close to Arsenal before Arsenal went and won again. It just feels like they've turned into that winning machine all of a sudden.
Yeah, we've seen it before, haven't we? I mean, we know they can go on a run of 16, 17, even 18 games, Manchester City, because of the quality they've got. And it looks like they're going to strengthen to their squad in this January window as well. So I think there's no doubt about it that Pep wants his trophy back. If we want to call the Premier League trophy his, he's won it that many times since he's been in the UK. But no, he's a born winner. He's a born leader. And I think you look at the sides that he's built since he's been here in the Premier League. I mean, they are a force. There's no doubt about it. And they're a wonderful team to watch. And if I talk about Sunderland and how you approach against a side like Manchester City, well, I don't really know tonight because of all of the changes. Would Regis Labrie, will he go with a 5 at the back? Will he go 4? But I think you've just got to wait for those 1 or 2 opportunities that you might get in the game and try and capitalise on it. But a big game and a good game to watch.
Sunderland's strength, as I mentioned, only City and Arsenal have conceded less than them, but only Wolves and Forest have scored less than Sunderland. the key to get beyond this Manchester City defence that has got themselves really tight. Only Arsenal have conceded less than Manchester City. That shows the size of the task that is ahead of Sunderland tonight.
Yeah, well, it does. And I don't think anybody expects Sunderland to go out and score 3 or 4 goals. Look, they've scored 16 of the 20 goals that they've got this season at home. And it kind of says something that, you know, you need to use that crowd, that 12th man. You've got to get them involved in the game as much as you possibly can. And the only way they will do that is if they're putting in a performance. Look, they've surprised everybody this season. The amount of points they've got this season already in the Premier League, they've been the surprise package. They've got some wonderful players. And the players that have came through the door, the ones that are missing, it gives other players an opportunity tonight to play against one of the best sides in Europe.
Kick-off fast approaching 8 o'clock live on Talksport 2. Me and Mickey are in position for Sunderland and Manchester City.
And you can hear live and exclusive commentary of Sunderland Manchester City here on Talksport 2 following us at around 7:30 this evening. Over on Talksport from 8, it's Brentford versus Tottenham. Here at Selhurst Park, though, new year, but same old. Jean-Philippe Mateta, his headed goal is the difference between Crystal Palace and Fulham at the break. Let's look back at that first half. New Year's Day then, Crystal Palace versus Fulham live here on Talksport 2. Mitchell, ball across his cutout, it's bobbling around, will it break? Saved by Leno, breaks back to Will Hughes, cries of shoot! And the shot comes in, but it is wide. Here is Klein driving into the box, ball across, looking for Mateta, who heads it low, down into the bottom corner, and Crystal Palace are in front.
There we go.
Half-time at Selhurst Park then, Crystal Palace 1, Fulham 0. Palace with a side out of form, Fulham with a side in form coming into this, but that's not how that first half has unfolded. And it's being reported online that Brendan Johnson has agreed personal times with Crystal Palace, so he could be exiting Tottenham and could be in the Crystal Palace squad to face Newcastle on Sunday. Scott Minter, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it'd be a really good signing for Palace. I think, you know, we talked about how the squad's too thin and not scoring enough goals. Well, he certainly knows how to score a goal, so I think he's a very good signing. Slightly surprised with the way that Spurs are at the moment, and Thomas Frank trying to turn things around, and certainly not, you know, taken in by the Spurs fans at the moment. When you talk about injuries and how well or not well they've been doing, someone like him who can score a goal, they're willing to let go. But I think from Palace's point of view, I think it's a really good signing and another addition. You know, he's obviously won the Europa League, scored the goal as well, so he's got experience of playing in Europe. Yeah, I think he'll do really well.
And why isn't he getting minutes at Tottenham?
I think I like him. I wouldn't say he's a top Premier League player. I think he's more of a finisher, more of someone to put the ball in behind and to run on to, rather than getting hold of the ball and creating something, you know, taking the game by the scruff of the neck. But that's okay. You can say, well, I'm a wide player, and that's not really what I'm meant to do. But if he comes to Palace, you know, it's going to be one of those number 10s. We talked earlier about how when Sarr comes back from the AFCON, he's been one of Palace's best players this season. He's that kind of right side 10. So does Johnson then become the left side 10? But I definitely think it'd be an upgrade on definitely Pino, and you know, Devaney's not developed into a regular first teamer yet. So I think it's exactly what Crystal Palace need. And more.
The Crystal Palace players are coming out, and talking of another man that might be on the move, Adama Traore is out. Doesn't look like he's going to be coming on anytime soon. He's got a full tracksuit on and a bib, but there's lots of reports that he's off to West Ham.
Yeah, and that's an interesting one. Obviously, Nuno knows him from his time at Wolves. Again, we were talking on the All Access podcast today about that if the next couple of results of West Ham don't go too well, big games of Wolves and Nottingham Forest, then Nuno might be in trouble. But how can you then allow, clearly Adama is a Nuno signing, how can you allow the manager to bring in players and then say within 2 games he could be under pressure? That's a very haphazard way of doing things.
Players are out here at Selhurst Park. Over on Talksport, it's Liverpool 0, Leeds 0. Full commentary there from Anfield, and we've got so much Premier League coverage on the Talksport network over the next few weeks. This Saturday, it's a 12:30 kick-off, Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest at the Talksport. Exclusive commentary from Sam Matterface and former England captain Stuart Pearce. Here at Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace 1, Fulham 0, and it's Fulham who get us back underway. Back it goes to Joachim Andersen Fulham shooting from right to left. Neither manager has opted to use any subs at half-time, so it's the same 11 that started the game for both teams. So let me just run through that for you then. Crystal Palace, Henderson and goal. Back three, Lerma, Lacroix and Gay. The wing-backs, Klein and Mitchell. Wharton and Hughes, the double pivot, as Jean-Philippe Mateta wins the battle up against Anderson. And Palace are in a good position here as Will Hughes puts the ball in the box. Front three for Palace then, Devaney, Pino and Jean-Philippe Mateta, who scored the opener. Free kick for Fulham in their own half. And the Fulham 11, Leno in goal, Robinson, Cuenca, Anderson and Tete. The back four, Berger, Lukic and Smith Rowe in the 10. The front three, Kevin, Jimenez and Wilson, as Joachim Anderson gets his name in the book for chatting back to the referee.
Yeah, I think he was saying, I'm not quite sure the Palace player was who fouled Kevin, and the foul was given, and Kevin was down and stayed down, and I wonder whether Anderson's sort of gone, hold on a minute, are you going to book him? And no, you're not allowed to do that anymore, so you get a yellow card yourself.
A little daft from Joachim Anderson perhaps, as Fulham tried to set away Jimenez. Klein heads it out for a Robinson throw, which I suspect will be a long one. Oh no, it's not, he takes it short. Back to Cuenca, another Fulham player on a yellow card, so that's now both of their centre-backs on a yellow for Fulham. Calvin Bassey, of course, is away with Nigeria at AFCON, so that would be a bit of a loss if one of those was to get a second yellow.
Yeah, it would, but Cuenca's actually filled in well for Bassey. I like Bassey, he's big, he's strong, he's powerful, he's got a good left foot, so there's good balance to those two centre-halves. But I think Cuenca's come in and done a very good job, so it will be interesting to see what happens, whether Cuenca keeps his place when Bassey comes back.
2 minutes into the second half, Palace 1, Fulham 0 here on Talksport 2. Here comes Fulham with Lukic, tries to get past Hughes, can't do so. Tete wins it back for the away side, plays the ball with the outside of his foot to Robinson, in field to Smith Rowe, and those two combine nicely. Josh King in the Fulham squad, that's a bit of a downer for them, and I'm sure a big question for Marco Silva at the end of this game. Where is he? Is he injured?
He must be. You're not telling me Josh King, even though Emma Smith Rowe has done well recently, that he's not good enough to be on the bench, especially when you're 1-0 down at Crystal Palace. If you ask me who would you bring on, you'd want to bring on a Josh King.
Missing, of course, Chukwueze, he's away with Nigeria. Fulham, and their striker Muniz is also out injured till I think about February or March, which is a big blow for them. Jimenez, their main man. Palace in possession with Will Hughes inside his own half. Applause for good passing for Palace. They're leading Fulham by a goal to nil. Here's Nathaniel Klein, the man that got the assist in that first half. Set up Jean-Philippe Mateta with the header, and a ball over the top from Jefferson Lerma goes all the way through to Bernd Leno.
Well, look, we started the second half how we started the first, but let's give them a little bit of slack here. That I thought that towards the end of the first half was very good from both sides, especially from Crystal Palace after they scored the goal. I think it might take 5 or 10 minutes to warm up here in the second half, and then I expect Fulham to try and go for it a little bit more.
Smith Rowe finds Robinson with a 5-yard square pass. Robinson's being chased down by Lerma, and he's forced back to Cuenca.
We should then allow Crystal Palace to exploit any spaces on the counter-attack, and even though they're playing at home, play like an away side.
And that's how Crystal Palace quite often like to play, isn't it, on the counter?
Yeah, and you only have to look at the home form versus the away form to show they're very comfortable playing away.
That's where in the Championship, Sheffield United 2, Leicester City 0. Tom Cannon with the goal there to double their lead. As Kenny Tete is down for Fulham, and our referee Tony Harrington calls on the Fulham medical staff as the screens here zoom in on Steve Parish, the Crystal Palace owner, in the stands.
And Mark Bright, of course.
Yeah, unscrutable facial expression there, isn't it? Besides winning.
I know Brighty very well. Great guy, Crystal Palace legend. Played for Charlton, of course, as well.
Towards him playing in that Charlton-Chelsea upcoming game, Scott Minter. Who are you going to support?
Anyway, Flo, the weather's a bit cold here, isn't it?
Two of your former sides, of course, and looks like Fulham are going to have to make a change here. I can see Timothy Castagna getting stripped off and ready to come on. That'll be a like-for-like change, him coming on for Kene Tete, I suspect.
Yeah, it's actually not that cold, I don't think. Just me trying to change the subject. But no, you know, it's quite funny in a way. Joachim Andersen, who's well known for being one of the best passers of in the Premier League for a centre-half, and he kicked the ball out. A lot of people didn't realise there was a reason to it. Kene Tete was still standing at the time, and then Joachim Andersen, with all the cheers around here, basically went to him, go down, and he has gone down, and clearly he needed to, because, yeah, it looks like Castagne's coming on for him.
I've got quite a few Palace friends that I spoke to, and they said they weren't actually too sad when Joachim Andersen left them to go to Fulham.
Is that right? I wonder if that's a little bit of hindsight, because I thought that he and Marc Guéhi really dovetailed exceptionally well, and you know, I think it was that Fulham quite simply offered a much better contract, so that's why he left Crystal Palace.
If you compare him and Lacroix,
right? So then it's about replacements. And Lacroix came in, and I actually think he struggled a little bit in the first few games, but clearly from the athletic point of view, he's a much better centre half from a defensive point of view, which then allows Crystal Palace to play with a bit of a higher line than they did under Joachim Andersen. So absolutely, in the end now, it looks like a really good deal, both in terms of the price they got for Andersen and also Lacroix coming in. But I wasn't 100% sure at the time.
Here is Andersen. He played over 100 times for Crystal Palace in a 3-year spell. That change has happened then. Castagna on for Tete, just confirmation of that. Here's Smith Rowe trying to drive Fulham forward, out to Kevin on that left-hand side, still searching for a first Premier League goal. The Brazilian who was signed from Shakhtar tricks his way past the defender, plays in a good ball into the penalty area, cleared by Guéhi. Here's Smith Rowe, edge of the box though. Plays it off to Berger, and he's surrounded by Crystal Palace players, and he's robbed of possession, and now Palace will try and break as it's poked into the path of Justin Devenny. He's got support from Mitchell. Devenny allowed to travel with it. Pokes it into Mitchell in the penalty areas. Mateta is cut back though for Devenny. Strikes it first time, blocked, and breaks for Hughes. And the ball from Pino was not a good one. Out it goes for a goal kick.
The idea wasn't bad from Pino, but just the execution wasn't quite good, and it just always feels like he's just a little bit short, Pino, unfortunately. But really good play down the left-hand side. First of all, good defending, actually, to win the ball on the edge of their box. There's 4 or 5 Crystal Palace players around the Fulham players. Won it. Good one-touch play to counter-attack. Got down the left-hand side. Tyreek Mitchell getting forward. Good cut-back. There's a decent strike from Devenny, and good positional play from the Fulham defenders to make sure that Bernd Leno didn't actually have to make a save.
A little bit short. I think Yermin Pino's about 5'8", Scott.
Say that again?
Don't worry. Anthony Robinson coming forward for Fulham. Plays it in field to Smith Rowe. Out now to Kevin, who has looked lively when he's been on the ball. But that has been the problem. He's looked lively for Fulham since joining, but he's not been able to get the output as Smith Rowe fires one. Blocked by a Palace player back into the Palace box, and Tyreek Mitchell will carry it forward. Ever present for Palace this season. Tyreek Mitchell, third most tackles in the Premier League as well of all Premier League players. Palace 1, Fulham 0 here on Talksport 2. Talksport right now, it's Liverpool lead, still goalless there at Anfield as Kevin loses the ball to Klein but does win it back. What can Fulham build now? They've got the ball with Andersen. Full white strip with bright orange boots. He plays a nice ball out to Kevin on the left. Kevin into Smith Rowe. He's dispossessed by Lerma, and now Wharton will try and carry it out for Palace. His socks slung low. Plays the ball over the top for Pino. Pino in on goal. His shot blocked by Castagna, who got back and then fired out by Cuenca, and then a late flag goes up anyway for offside.
Well, in the first half we had decisive assistant refereeing, and there it certainly wasn't. I did think he was offside in the first place, and it was tighter than the one in the first half for sure. I don't know, once sort of you got 10-15 seconds later and the ball's cleared anyway, why not just play on?
It's a good point. Will Hughes now down for Palace, and he was feeling his hamstring in the first half, wasn't he?
Yeah, let's see where the physio goes. It's almost the top of his hamstring, the bottom of his buttocks. I don't know if it's the same thing or a different injury now, but this is where the managers have to be careful, isn't it? Again, we talk about the fixture list, and it's not just Christmas fixture list or Crystal Palace. You know, I've been playing 2-3 games a week for a long period of time now with a very small squad. He's made the fewest amount of changes in the Premier League, fewest by some as well. So if there's any type of niggle at all, I think he has to bring players off for fear of them being out for a longer period of time.
Here comes that change then. Off goes Will Hughes and on comes Canvo, 19-year-old centre-back who had a torrid time against Arsenal in the League Cup. So I suspect Lerma will go into central midfield and Canvo will drop in as that right centre-back position.
Yeah, I think you'd be absolutely spot on there. Let's wait to see what does happen. But, I mean, first of all, Will Hughes is taking his time coming off, isn't he? He can't move particularly well at all, so I hope that's not a serious injury. But yeah, you would think Canvo, who you're right, Flo, I was there at the game for Talksport. He really struggled against Martinelli, but he is playing into that sort of right side of the three of the centre-backs, and Jefferson Lerma moving into midfield to his normal place.
He joined in the summer, Canvo, for quite a considerable fee, reported around 20 million. He's a project player, though a young player, still a teenager, as I mentioned. So Fulham still trailing Palace by a 1-0, and they've not really created all too much yet, as we're just over 10 minutes into the second period.
Yeah, JD Canvo certainly learnt a lot last week at the Emirates, for sure. I think it was a little bit harsh. No one was helping him out. It was a one-on-one situation. He's got to learn to scream at people to come and help him, come across, get someone to sit in front of Martinelli. You know, it's all learning lessons.
Poorly given away by Fulham. Devaney lays it back, and the shot from Lerma's blocked by Berger just in time. Devaney very nearly played in on goal by a Fulham defender. Now Fulham try and break, and they can't get Wilson away. Wilson and Jimenez really not been involved for Fulham, or involved enough in terms of creating anything in the attacking third. Kevin, lots of good looking runs and movement, but again no output. Here is Kevin up against Klein. Devaney's come back to help the veteran fullback. Back to Robinson, he curls one in, and there is the header, and it's off the post, and Palace clear. Raul Jimenez coming very close to the leveller.
Well, that's what we're talking about getting him in between the sticks and allowing others to find a way to get that cross in. Great play, brilliant cross from Robinson, and that's what Jimenez can do. So unlucky in the post.
Ball put across by Smith Rowe and headed back across by Jimenez, but out of play. And that's a warning shot really for Crystal Palace.
Well, it's what Fulham are capable of. And you're absolutely right to say that we haven't seen much of Smith Rowe or Wilson, but we've seen a lot of Kevin down the left-hand side. And he, a couple of times with Anthony Robinson, just partnered up really well. It's a brilliant cross in. It's the type of cross that any centre-forward would want. Mateta or Jimenez.
Palace give it away to Berger. He's in the box, but from a wide angle, dinks it up and behind for a goal kick. You're listening to Crystal Palace Fulham on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Don't forget that with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action flexibly, like Sunderland, Manchester City, which is live tonight. Search Now Sports.
Well, you're absolutely right. It's a kick up the backside for Palace. You know, Fulham are 1-0 down. They have to find a way to get back into it. Palace will be quite happy just to keep this going. Bit of game management and the way that it is. Midfield play, not creating too many chances, but not conceding any either. It's down to Fulham to do something, and very nearly got the equaliser.
Anderson clears downfield. Maxence Lacroix with the header infield to Lerma, who cushions the ball back to Mitchell. Henderson downfield looking for Pino. He can't quite win the ball off two Fulham defenders, but he does put pressure on Anderson and force him back to Bernd Leno. No clean sheet for Fulham and Leno today after back-to-back clean sheets in the Premier League. And that's a bit of a poor challenge from Smith Rowe, and he's sent Lacroix flying, and the yellow card comes out for Emil Smith Rowe. There's some here in Selhurst Park who are chanting off, and actually that's created a bit of a ruckus between Oliver Glasner and Marco Silva. Glasner not happy with the challenge, and he's pointing his finger at Silva. Silva's waving him away.
Right, so it's a foul. could argue it's a yellow card, but it's not as if he stuck his foot out and shown the studs. And the way that Lacroix went down and rolling around, I'd give him a 9.9 for the way he did that. Bit of a robust challenge, definite foul. I'd argue it's not even a yellow card, but you can say he didn't get the ball, but it wasn't as if he really stuck his leg out. There was just a bit of contact between the two.
Yellow card for Emil Smith-Rowe. And let's get the team news ahead of Sunderland, Manchester City with John Dunn.
2 changes for Manchester City. Nathan Ake and Savinho make their first start since October, replacing Vardial and Reinders, who are on the bench. 1 change for Sunderland. Eliza Mayenda comes in, replacing Chris Rigg. Kick-off at 8. It's Sunderland at Manchester City.
Here come Palace. Jean-Philippe Mateta in on goal. Is the flag up? He doesn't find the net anyway, and then the flag again is raised late. Also on Talksport tonight at 8, Brentford face Tottenham Hotspur. Don't forget the darts quarterfinals continue from Ali Pali as well on the Talksport app and the Talksport Darts YouTube channel. All the action gets underway from 7.
Yeah, I mean, he was well offside. I could see that. Referee's assistant was waiting there, and again, he's got to time his run a little bit better. I think was it Devaney, who actually would have been really close if the ball had gone to him. But at least it's better from Palace going forward.
Palace still leading Fulham here by a 1-0. That Jean-Philippe Mateta header in the first half, getting 2026 underway after a brilliant 2025, brilliant calendar year for the big French forward. Throw in for Fulham then. They look to try and get back in this tie. They came close through Raul Jimenez, his header cannoning off the post, and they get him in more dangerous opportunities. He's currently standing in an offside position. Will dart back in field when the opportunity arises.
It is a great line though, isn't it, that Mateta, only Erling Haaland in the calendar year of 2025 has scored more goals, more Premier League goals. I mean, he's such a monster machine, a world-class striker. It's almost like he's the best of the rest in that terms. It's almost, it doesn't count Erling Haaland. We know he's going to be number 1.
Still 0-0 between Liverpool and Leeds. That's live on Talksport as Robinson wins the ball back for Fulham. Gifts it straight back though to Palace, and here is Camvo, the substitute, shimmies and shakes away from Kevin, leaves the Brazilian on the floor, up to Mateta, who can't win the header, and the ball breaks in the centre circle for Pino. He finds Lerma, he rides the challenge, and then Pino picks up the progression, plays the ball in, headed out by Cuenca, and it's back with the Colombian Jefferson Lerma. He fires it forward to Pino, who's just to get it back to Gay and Wharton both combining. Will they both be starting for England in the summer in the World Cup? Gay probably, definitely. Adam Wharton perhaps less sure, as Devaney squares the ball to Gay. Palace now good spell of possession in Fulham's defensive third. They're leading by a 1-0. All the players in Fulham's half, except of course for Dean Henderson, the Palace goalkeeper. Here's Nathaniel Klein, who got the assist in the first half. Back to JD Camvo, the substitute that came on for Will Hughes. Out it goes again, this time to the left to Gay. This is nice passing from Crystal Palace. Crisp, one-touch play. Can they find the incisive thrusting pass as it's sprayed out to Klein? First time ball across, doesn't catch it. It spins behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, unlucky. And it was decent enough one-touch passing, but they weren't going anywhere. It wasn't until Mark Gahey looked up and played the ball cross-field in behind the defence for Nathaniel Klein. It was a right idea to try and get it in first time, because there was a corridor of space between Leno and the Fulham back four, but unfortunately for Klein, he wasn't quite able to get a good connection on it.
Fulham playing quite a high line, and Devaney and Jean-Philippe Mateta hanging off that last line as Palace are in possession.
The switch ball is on all the time for Nathaniel Klein, because he's that wing back and he's really hugging the sidelines. Anthony Robinson needs to be tucked in, so if they can look up Palace and ping it out to Klein, when Munoz, he'd be having a field day if he was here and playing in this particular game. But Klein himself, he's made the assist for the goal. He needs to keep on shouting for it.
Looks like Tom Kearney's about to come onto the pitch for Fulham. We're hearing Sander Berger's the player that's going to make way. as Cuenca goes all the way back to Leno in all orange and the bright yellow boots and gloves. He edges forward. 25 minutes remaining. Crystal Palace leading Fulham by a goal to 0 here on Talksport 2, currently ending that poor run of form which they came into this game. Ahead of this, they'd not won in the last 5 games in all competitions. That's their joint worst run under Oliver Glasner. On this, his 70th Premier League game in charge of Crystal Palace.
Yeah, they could do with that second goal just to make sure that is a first win in 6 for sure. 1-0, doesn't matter how a team is playing, it's just one moment away, one mistake, one set piece, one bit of brilliance. We've already seen Fulham hit the post.
Here comes Palace on the break though, Yeremy Pino. He's got Jean-Philippe Mateta to the left and he just kept running, and the shot comes in from Lerma. And that was a little bit hesitant from Pino. He had Devaney on the right, Mateta on the left, and he just couldn't make up his mind and then was just possessed.
Yeah, I mean, some might argue it's actually quite selfish. I think the ball to Mateta was the one I initially thought was on, but that would have been a very difficult one to have done because Fulham were getting back very quickly. So, but once you make your decision to keep it and take someone on, you can't get tackled. You've got to make sure you get your shot off. To be fair to Mateta, he didn't turn around and say, come on, you got a pass to me there, like most centre-forwards would. So, shows there's a good little bond between the two of them.
And Palace have got a corner from the resulting Jefferson Lerma shot, which went off a white shirt and behind. And they're taking this corner now. All the players in the 6-yard box. It's an in-swinger out by Cuenca. And Wharton will just shield that out of play with Kevin coming up behind him. Throw in then for Crystal Palace. And here comes that change then for Fulham. And it is Tom Kearney who comes on. And then he replaces Sander Berger, a player with perhaps a little bit more attacking creativity. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. He's got a great left foot. Can open a can of beans with that left foot. And if he can get on the ball, he's not the most athletic anymore, but certainly if he can get on the ball in dangerous positions, he can dink a little ball over the top, whip a great ball in, even on set pieces as well, stick one in the top corner. Yeah, he's a very good person to have to come off the bench.
Lerma with the long throw for Palace into the box out by the substitute, Kearney. And then Lerma lifts it back goalwards. That's out by Anderson, and the flag is raised for offside. It's currently Crystal Palace 1, Fulham 0. And for the latest odds, head to William Hill, the official betting partner for Talksport 2's Premier League coverage, where right now you can get Palace to go on and win 10-3. The draw 10-3. Fulham to come back and win 14-1. That's all thanks to William Hill. 18+, gambleaware.org. 68 minutes players. Strikes 7 p.m. Palace in front. Lukic on the ball for Fulham. Plays it out to Castagna on that right-hand side. It's now with Tom Kearney. He's just got Palace players in front of him. And Palace are in their shape, in their defensive shape as Tyrick. In fact, he comes out, slides that out of play and then celebrates with the crowd. I love a player that loves defending.
He will be a big miss, won't he? I know Palace fans don't want to hear this, but he's such a good player. He's developed so well since he's come to the club. I'm pretty sure he does love this club, and I think the way that he's conducted himself, the way he did, in the last day of the window. Yeah, he wasn't happy at Stamford Bridge with Oliver Glasner. Could tell. They're just, one of the ultimate professionals, whereas others, and don't need to mention names, say I'm not going to play to get my move. It's a classy guy as well as a classy player.
Yeah, and if and when he does leave, I'm sure the Palace fans will not boo him when they play against him.
I hope not.
Klein manages to cut out the Fulham attack as Kevin tried to get away. Back with Henderson.
Could be lifting another trophy, of course, the first ever European trophy for Crystal Palace. So if he does, even more so, I hope not.
They've got to get past that playoff round. They didn't
Yes,
make
they
it
have.
straight through, did they, to the knockout rounds? But here come Crystal Palace. Jean-Philippe Mateta is offside. But the referee, I think, is going to bring it back for a foul on Nathaniel Klein that happened before the flag was raised. Yes, he is. Free kick, Palace.
Yeah, again, it's the second half that hasn't really seen too much. Obviously, Raul Jimenez with that unlucky header that hit the post. Other than that, Palace looking pretty comfortable. As I say, they are just one moment away from not winning this game, and it would be a big win for Chris, or an important win anyway, to get back to winning ways, and to try and, it's amazing flow. And no matter how many games you play, when you win, you're not tired. When you don't win, you are tired. So just to get that one a little bit out of the mindset.
That foul on Nathaniel Klein was from Jorge Cuenca, who's on a yellow card. He does need to be careful. That could have been deemed as a professional foul to break up the play. Perhaps a little fortunate there. Still 0-0 between Liverpool and Leeds, which is live on Talksport. And a reminder that after us, it's Sunderland, Manchester City with John Dunn and Mickey Gray. Palace leading by a goal to 0 here as the ball's played out. Tyreek Mitchell on that left-hand side touches it out of the air brilliantly. Goes back to Lerma. Nathaniel Klein has made the run to the back post. Tyreek Mitchell in possession again, looks to cross, but instead plays it back to Lerma, who takes the ball in the half-turn back away from the goal to which Palace is shooting, though. Here's Camvo. Klein around the corner for Devaney, who's not been too influential in this game, starting successive Premier League games for the first time this season. Of course, no Ismaila Sarr. He's away with Senegal. They're through to the round of 16, so he might be there for a little bit longer. And Palace actually have some quite difficult fixtures after this in the Premier League. They're away at Newcastle next, and then at home to Aston Villa. And then they've got Macclesfield in the FA Cup as well. That's also away.
Sunderland away after that.
So a bunch of tough fixtures. This would be a great time to get a first win in a while. That's what they're heading towards at the moment. As Wharton sets Mitchell away on that left-hand side again. Brilliant touch to get it under control. Mitchell's ball across, deflected behind for a Crystal Palace corner.
Yeah, it's happened a couple of times now, hasn't it? Wharton, great crossfield pass to a sprinting Tyreek Mitchell. Inch perfect pass, brilliant first touch. The opportunity to try and get it in, wasn't able to in the end. Castagna came out really quickly, but that's the beauty of the wing-back system. The wing-backs stay really wide. We talked about Klein being on the crossfield pass, being open. Well, Tyreek Mitchell is as well. Castagna gets there in the end to stop the cross, but as he walks away, he holds his hands in the air as if like, what am I meant to do here?
Corner then for Crystal Palace. Again, it's an in-swinger towards the near post, punched by Leno, and then he tips it onto the post, and Fulham managed to smuggle it away just about, but that was bobbling around the goal line. And now Gay on the volley, and it goes out. Fulham and Bernd Leno are complaining. I think Leno thought he should have had a free kick in there, but I didn't see anything too much wrong with that.
Well, he would say that. I mean, I'm not quite sure what he was doing here. There's Lacroix who's come up. He's got his arm up, but Leno's got to be stronger there. He's tried to punch it away. He's completely mispunched it. It's gone onto the top of the crossbar. He's managed to just tip it away. But even after that, there was an opportunity for Palace to try and just nick the ball out or in from 1 yard, and good defending in the end from Fulham. I mean, 2-0 and the game's done, Flo. I don't see Fulham, the way they've played so far in these first 73, 74 minutes, able to score 2 goals. While it's 1-0, they're in the game, but that could be an important moment in the game.
Not the most commanding goalkeeping from Bernd Leno, but he did just enough. Harry Wilson in possession for Fulham. Back it goes to Anderson, out to Castagna, and it's loose, and Palace leap upon it, but the counter cut out by Anderson. Here's Robinson now. Again, not seen too much of him, who's been really good the past couple of games. 10 assists last season for him. Fulham then try the crossfield ball looking for Jimenez, who just bumps Cambo off the ball. Good work from the big Mexican. Back to Kevin. Kevin then lifts it in towards the back post, but no Fulham player had gambled, and behind it goes for a goal kick, and Kevin looks frustrated.
He does. He's got his hands in the air, standing still as if like, what more can I do? Get in there. And Harry Wilson is the one at the far post who's got to kind of read it, but to be fair, again, to Tyreek Mitchell, no one really sort of sees this, but he just makes sure he gets his body there so that when the cross comes in, Harry Wilson is not able to get into a position to be at the far post. So we're all saying, why is someone not reading that? Tyreek Mitchell's just made sure that Harry Wilson doesn't get in there. It's really good defending from the wing-back.
Quarter of an hour to play here on Talksport 2. Crystal Palace leading Fulham by a goal to nil. Jean-Philippe Mateta, who's on the ball now, out by the corner flag. Great strength, and the ball bobbles up and hits Cuenca's hand, but the referee content with that handball, seemingly so, and Fulham now will try and break. Kearney lays it off to Castagna. Back in field to Kearney. The Selhurst Park crowd grumbling at that decision. Here's Castagna now. In fact, it's Lukic over the halfway line, dribbling through a number of Crystal Palace bodies, square to Smith Rowe. He lays it back into Lukic. Back to Kevin now. Anthony Robinson, white shirts in the penalty area, but he plays instead to Kearney on the edge of the box. He then finds Lukic in the penalty area, and his touch lets him down, and Nathaniel Klein will clear for Fulham, and a good moment undone by a poor touch.
Yeah, it did let him down, didn't it? He was free in the box. A decent first touch, and he might have been able to shoot, definitely been able to cross. But Fulham trying to apply a lot of pressure now.
Kevin, the Brazilian, cuts in field. Devaney follows him. And Kevin is allowed to travel back into a central area. Now with Kearney. Can he pick the lock that is this Crystal Palace defence? We know how good defensively Palace are. They're so hard to break down once they've got the lead. Smith Rowe now. Can he work his magic? No. Goes side to side instead. Here is Robinson. Tries to dink the ball forward, but it breaks and goes out for a throw-in for Fulham, and Anthony Robinson doesn't do the long throw. Instead he takes it quick. He wants to get Fulham moving. It's still 0-0 between Liverpool and Leeds elsewhere. That's live on Talksport as Kevin on from the left whips the ball across the face of goal, and the header at the back post is saved on the line by Henderson. Castagna it was with the header.
Kevin again is the most dangerous player, first half and second half, that Fulham have. It's a great left foot cross. It's a difficult one for Castagna because it's not as if he's running onto it. He's almost got to come back a little bit and then generate the power. Obviously he's got to try and get it on target. By getting it on target you don't get as much power as you'd like. In the end it was a pretty simple save from Henderson, but it's a lot better from Fulham now for sure.
If you look at the stats for Kevin, no goals or assists, they reflect poorly on him, but actually watching this game, the stats don't always tell the full story, do they? He could have had a couple of assists.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me is chances created. You know, how many chances he created. He can't, well, he can obviously score himself, but if he's put a great cross in and someone's not scored it, even if they've missed an open goal, that won't go down as an assist, obviously, but it will go down as a great chance created. So I would imagine he'd be a lot better than he is in the goals and assists.
Here is the Brazilian. Dinks it into Smith Rowe, who can't poke it round the corner for him. You're listening to Crystal Palace versus Fulham on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it, book now at enterprise.co.uk. 12 minutes remaining. Palace in front by a goal to nil. Here is Lukic for Fulham, driving forward out to the left to Anthony Robinson in the attacking third. Nice 1-2. Robinson plays the ball across, and Wilson and Jimenez get in each other's way, and then Gay's able to just hook it away. Fulham are starting to build some momentum now, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I say, you know, Palace look reasonably comfortable, but it is only 1-0. We've seen them hit the post, Fulham. We've seen them create a chance. Castagna had a good head at the far post there. Palace can't just sit back and try and play for the 90 minutes and the final whistle. Well, this Fulham side will hurt them.
Jorge Cuenca out to Kevin, the man that's been making things happen for Fulham. He finds Smith Rowe, he turns away from Devaney, feeds Robinson on the left. Ball across is low and hard, and it's met by Jimenez. Back to goal, tries to turn and shoot, he does. That's blocked by Lerma. Back to Anderson, he finds Harry Wilson. Wilson plays it to Castagna, back out to Kearney. Palace are in defending mode, defending deep as the ball's put in, and it's cleared out by Palace's Cambo, the young centre-back. Brilliant touch, though, by Jimenez, and Smith Rowe tries to shoot in the box. That's blocked, and out it goes, and Fulham will have to build again. Elsewhere, Dominic Calvert-Lewin thought he'd given Leeds the lead against Liverpool. That goal, though, was ruled out by VAR. Still 0-0 then between Liverpool and Leeds.
Yeah, interesting, that one, isn't it?
It's live on Talksport right now.
But at least we've got a goal.
Indeed. Anthony Robinson Feeds Lukic. Lovely pass to Kearney. Kearney's shot finds the back of the net. And Fulham have a leveller. And Tom Kearney wheels away, whips his shirt off, and goes over to celebrate with the Fulham faithful. 10 minutes to play. Crystal Palace 1, Fulham 1.
Made that 2 goals. And we said Palace can't keep on playing like this, almost attack v defence, trying to play for the final whistle. Still 10 minutes to wait. We also mentioned about how Tom Kearney has a wonderful left foot. And that's what he can do when he gets into dangerous situations. Not going to pick the ball up and run and go past 4 or 5 players. But if he gets on the edge of the box with time, he will put it in a place that goalkeepers just can't find. And it's a great first touch, and it's an even better second because it's kind of bounced up. So then he's got to side foot it with pace and precision while the ball's in the air. That's not an easy skill to do. And again, I go back to the fact of what a left foot he has got. Not many players on this pitch, Adam Wharton's definitely one of them as well, but not many on this pitch will be able to do that. And Marcus Silva absolutely delighted. And I have to say, the way the second half has gone, I think it's a just scoreline at the moment.
An inspired substitution then by Marco Silva, and Oliver Glasner is reacting to that leveller and bringing on some changes. On comes Ramon Esse, and also on comes Uche as well. So Palace looking to bring on attacking options to try and change the game. It's Taveni and Pino who have gone off. 9 minutes remaining then. All level again. Crystal Palace 1, Fulham 1. It was Tom Kearney who got Fulham back level with that brilliant strike. His first goal for Fulham this campaign. First goal since 3-2 win at Brentford in May 2025.
That's interesting, isn't it? For Mateta, he's done so much running, and I think, you know, if Palace had a little bit more strength in depth, maybe Mateta would come off, Uche would go up front.
Here is Esse though, just come onto the pitch, dribbles into the box from wide, shot is blocked by Cuenca, behind for a corner, and Esse tries to G up the crowd behind that Bernd Leno goal. And 8 minutes remaining, 1-1. It feels like there maybe is a winner in this score.
It's in the balance for sure. You know, Palace won't be happy that they've now conceded, so they will look for the winner. So maybe then the option for Fulham, who have still got lots of pace, to try and counter-attack them. Yeah, really interesting. 8 minutes plus injury time coming up.
Adam Wharton to deliver, whips it in near post, doesn't beat the man at the first post for Fulham, but it's a throw-in for Palace. Oliver Glasner clapping his side on in a long coat, white trainers. Marco Silva really celebrated that goal when it went in. It must be a really smug feeling as a manager when you make a substitute and they go on and score.
Is that the word that you'd be like that? Yeah. You'd
sounds
look,
like I was being a bit mean about him.
Would you look at the bench and say, "See, I know what I'm doing"?
Just shush the crowd. Fulham clear. Crystal Palace 1, Fulham 1. Kevin wins the ball off Tyreek Mitchell, pokes it into the path of Smith Rowe, but Henderson was on the edge of his box. Sweeper keeper, good goalkeeping, good alert play from the England goalkeeper to fire away for Palace. He'll be disappointed not to have a clean sheet, Henderson. Here's Anderson now. Strokes the ball forward to Wilson. Castagne's on the overlap. Wilson driving in field, shows too much to Mitchell, and then Anderson just blazes it out of play into the Fulham fans who are in that far corner. They're a little bit quiet until the leveller, but they erupted into a wall of sound once their side got back level through Tom Kearney.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget they hit the post. I think second half they have been by far and away the better side. And if you look even over the whole 84 minutes so far, they've had more possession, more shots, and more shots on target.
Fulham about to make 2 changes as well. I can see Adama Traore warming up, as is Harrison Reed. So the first change then, we'll see Harrison Reed come on. He's only had 1 Premier League appearance so far this season. That was on as a sub against Sunderland, the 88th minute. He's coming on for Harry Wilson. And on comes Adama Traore then for Kevin. Big rumours, lots of reports that Traore's off to West Ham, but well, he's coming on here. His only Premier League start this season was that loss to Newcastle. Can he be the man to spark Fulham into a complete comeback?
Yeah, interesting to see what's happening. He's taken off both of the wide players and only put one wide player on, with Harrison Reed coming on top of that. So just as Fulham were in the ascendancy, I've gone not negative, but not as attacking as he could be.
Here is Reed, fouled by Uche. Free kick for Fulham, then Uche knocks the ball away, so the free kick can't be taken quickly. Another goal in the Championship. Sheffield United 3, Leicester City 0. It's an interesting result. Championship is all over the place this year.
Isn't it always?
It always is, isn't it? It's such a great division. Coventry leaders drawing with Charlton earlier today as well, after they lost the last time out to Ipswich. 5 minutes to play here though. Palace 1, Fulham 1, live here on Talksport 2. After us, we've got more Premier League coverage. 8 p.m. at Sunderland, Manchester City, as City look to close the gap on Arsenal after Arsenal's emphatic victory over Aston Villa the other day. Joachim Andersen with the forward ball cut out by Mitchell, who's had a really good game for Palace. A really good season for Palace, actually. A bit of an underrated player, I think, sometimes. Not talked about too much.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think he's extremely solid. I think he's a little bit harsh that he hasn't been kind of called up for England when it looks like it could be Tino Livramento as the left back, who's obviously a right-footed player, but they do have good left-footed players, England, for sure, in that position.
Romain Esse tried to take it on the turn, was manhandled by Cuenca, but in a fair way in the eyes of our referee Tony Harrington. Fulham in possession in their own half. Cuenca out to Robinson. Good pressure from Nathaniel Klein. Nearly forced the turnover, didn't quite come off though, and now Canvo fouls Robinson, and that was quite a similar foul to the one that Esse wanted, but Fulham get the free kick on this occasion.
Not a foul. It's not a foul. It's two players using physical strength, and actually it's Klein being stronger. And that's the type of sort of challenge that English football's about, really. You allow that little bit of physicality.
Forward come Fulham on that right hand side. Castagna can't set Traore away, who's barely had a touch since coming on, and then Tyreek Mitchell is fouled by the retreating Castagna, and the yellow card is out for the Fulham fullback. 3 minutes remaining, then can either of these sides find a winner, or will they be starting 2026 with a draw? 1-1 the score as things stand. Adam Wharton now out to Klein, who's had a really good game as well. The other wing back for Palace got the assist in the first half. He goes back to Canvo, a little bit heavy touch, nearly gives it away to Smith Rowe. Fulham do it back now with their goal scorer Kearney. Here is Smith Rowe. We're hearing this to be 8 minutes of injury time on the end of the 90.
8?
I'm not quite sure. It's 4.
Who went down injured again? Someone did go down.
Will Hughes went down
for,
it wasn't
that long.
Oh, more football for us. Forward ball from Smith Rowe, cut out by Gay. Throw in for Fulham. Still 0-0 between Liverpool and Leeds. Elsewhere, that's live on Talksport. They're in injury time there. That'll be a big point for Leeds.
That'll be a massive point for sure. Getting away from West Ham as much as possible. But you know, I'm loath to criticise Marco Silva, but Kevin was Fulham's best player. I'm not quite sure, unless he's got an injury, why he came off. And Smith Rowe's come out to the left-hand side. He's more of a number 10, but Tom Kearney's playing in that position now. Personally, if you want to put Adama on, I completely get it with the pace that he's got, but I wouldn't have brought off Kevin.
Elsewhere in the Championship, Leicester City have a goal back. Jordan James, but still they trail by 3-1. Fulham in possession with Kearney. He's fouled by Adam Wharton just over the halfway line. Will be a free kick for Fulham. And you speak about Traore and the impact he can have. His last Premier League goal was nearly a year ago versus Leicester on the 18th of January. He's never been prolific in terms of goal scoring. That might be why Fulham are quite happy to see him go to West Ham if they're willing to put up a decent fee.
Yeah, and obviously Nuno arguably got the best out of him in English football, so maybe he feels he can, but all I can say is from a fullback's point of view, he's the last person you want to be seen coming on late in the game when you're tired yourself, with his pace, his power and his trickery. So I think he'll look back if he doesn't you can say he's had a good career and good clubs that he has played for, but he should be a Champions League player with the attributes he's got.
Fourth official puts up the board, and there's actually 6 minutes of injury time. They must have heard us lamenting the proposed 8 minutes, and here is Adama Traore muscling away Tyreek Mitchell. Can't keep the ball in play. Does win the throw-in though for his side. So 6 minutes for one of these teams to find what would be probably at this late stage a winner. 1-1 the score.
Next goal wins this for sure. I think really probably a 1-1 is a fair result, but it's not about being fair, it's about nicking it even if you don't deserve to. Fulham have been better in the second half. Palace were definitely better for sort of 20 minutes towards the end of the first, but now it's a question of who can create that final opportunity.
As Jimenez gets the ball in the box, back to goal. Kearney with the shot, that's blocked, and then the follow-up shot is saved brilliantly by Henderson. Got a big glove up, strong arm to palm it out, and Fulham very nearly winning it there. Palace now on the attack. Uche can't quite hold it up, breaks for Wharton. Good flexibility to stick out a leg and get it under control. He then dinks it into the path of Mateta. Mateta's ball taken off his foot by Anderson. Behind it goes for a corner. What about that pass though from Wharton into Mateta?
Brilliant on his right foot as well. But just the chance before for Fulham, Jimenez brings it down. The ball finds its way to Timothy Castagne. He's 8 yards out in front of goal. He's on his left foot. If he's on his right foot, I'm telling you that is giving Dean Henderson no chance whatsoever. It's not a bad strike. It's a really good save. But sometimes, Flo, when you're in situations, you say you got to hit the target. And then there's other times where you say you have to score. He has to score. And we talked about how the next goal was the winner. That would have been the winner.
Before this Crystal Palace corner, Palace are making a substitution. On comes Sosa to replace Nathaniel Klein for the final moments of this game. And Sosa goes over to take the corner. Let's see if he can provide an assist with his first touch. So Sosa over, socks slung low in front of the Palace faithful. Corner in injury time for Crystal Palace. In it comes, and it's a terrible corner. Doesn't beat Lukic at the near post, and that is dreadful. And the ball's collected by Leonard.
That's not much better from Tyreek Mitchell, who has had a really good game, so I don't want to criticise him, but they were... Born Sosa, it's difficult when you first come on, your first touch is taking a corner.
Here come Fulham, Traore down the right, going up against Gueye, trotting back onto his left and right, trying to find the space for the shot, digs out the cross instead, and then Uche clears. That's where it's finished in the Championship. Sheffield United 3, Leicester City 1. We've got 3 of the 6 minutes added on of the 90 here. Fulham with Castagna, his ball across, cut out, corner for Fulham. And now Crystal Palace need to be careful here, because in the Premier League this season, 60% of their goals conceded have been from set pieces, and 8 of their 9 most recent goals conceded in all comps have been from dead ball situations, 4 of them corners. This would be a bad way to lose it at the end.
Just a guaranteed goal you're saying here now, aren't you?
It's like that time when every time Arsenal got a corner it felt like a penalty. Set pieces, everyone's so invested in them this season in the Premier League. And it's finished over on Talksport. Liverpool have drawn 0-0 with Leeds. It's a big result for Leeds. Still playing here, 1-1, Crystal Palace and Fulham. Corner for the away side, for Fulham. Got players in the 6-yard box. The referee blows his whistle. There's 2 Fulham players out by the corner flag to deliver it. It's on that far side, and there's a big post in the way, so it's hard to see the corner taker. I think it's Tom Kearney, yes it is. And in it comes from Kearney, flicked on by Mateta, and it will go out for another corner for Fulham from the other side this time. Nervy moments for the Crystal Palace fans here in Selhurst Park.
There's 90 seconds to go. So it's getting close to the final opportunity, and if you got the ball down this end again, talked about how Werner Sosa came on, first touch, not a great one with his corner. Got to put the ball in with quality. You never know what can happen.
And it's Smith Rowe who will be delivering the ball. We know how good he can be at deliveries. In it comes, flicked on at the near post by Jimenez. Poor clearance and fired over by Anderson. How has he not scored there? He's 5 yards out. It fell for him brilliantly. He's blazed it over.
Right, first of all, it's a great little flick on from there. And Palace just don't clear it. He's 6-7 yards out. Yeah, he's bang on the line, straight in front of goal, on the 6-yard line. And being ex-Palace as well, they'd have been dreaming about that, scoring the winner, last-minute winner at Selhurst Park. And Marco Silva looking at that, thinking what an opportunity that was to carry on this great run they're on.
Perhaps he forgot he was on the opposite side, but was trying to clear it. It looked like that, the way he fired it over.
It was a clearance, wasn't it?
It really was. And now here come Palace. Cuenca with the headed clearance before Mateta could get there. We've got 10 seconds remaining now as Smith Rowe wins a free kick. Sosa with the foul, and Sosa's not had a good late cameo, has he? A poor corner, and then he just gives away a foul there.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, JD Canvo as well will be thanking his lucky stars, because he's the one who didn't clear the ball well, and it just fell straight to Anderson. Just snatched at it.
And there is the full-time whistle then. Points are shared here on New Year's Day at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace won, Fulham won. The first half, Crystal Palace took the lead. Jean-Philippe Mateta getting over that goal drought. His header from a Nathaniel Klein cross. Second half, Fulham came out and they were perhaps on the balance of play the better side in the second half. They hit the post. Raul Jimenez with the header. Castagna had a header at the back post as well. But the goal came from the substitute Tom Kearney, a brilliant curling effort past Dean Henderson. Full time, 1-1 the score, Scott Minto, and probably a fair result.
Yeah, I think so. I think, the first 20 minutes, to say it was a slow burner would be an understatement. It looked like they've been out partying together on New Year's Eve. But then it started to pick up and Palace were a lot better. And certainly after the goal anyway. Second half, Fulham came at it. Fulham did not come here and deserve to lose at all over the balance of the game. And obviously could have nicked it right at the very end with the former Palace player, Joachim Anderson. And he'll be thinking about that when his head hits the pillow. He's not going to be able to sleep tonight. What a wonderful opportunity to snatch the winner, to come back from behind. And what would have been a very good win against what is a very tired but very stubborn Crystal Palace side. So, but ultimately, yeah, I do think a draw was a fair result.
In terms of those the chances, though, in the second period, Castagna, that late Joachim Anderson miss, the Raul Jimenez header off the post. Fulham perhaps might feel a little unlucky that they couldn't take one of those.
Yeah, I think if you look at chances, I think you're absolutely right. I think Fulham had the better of the chances, and the Castagna one and obviously the Anderson one, I actually think the Castagna one was easier in the sense that with Anderson it came in really quickly. It was bouncing high. He's got almost snatch at it, and he snatched. His technique wasn't quite good enough. But the Castagna one, yes, it was on his left foot, but he was able to put it almost where he wanted to. There's a good save from Henderson, you have to say. But I agree with you. In terms of chances, Fulham had the better of the chances. I just don't think over the whole 90 minutes Palace deserved to lose this.
And a first goal in the Premier League for Jean-Philippe Mateta since 30th of November when he scored that penalty against Manchester United. Aside from that, though, we didn't see too much from Mateta, but that's his job, isn't it, just to put the ball in the back of the net?
Yeah, I thought he worked really hard. He was up against two physical centre-halves and he wasn't always given the best of services, and he can certainly run the channels and run in behind and use his pace and power. And look, if he was a clinical striker, I think the only reason why the big clubs didn't come for him in the summer is his age. He creates so many chances. He misses too many to be like an ultra-clinical. But again, the stat of 2025, only Erling Haaland scored more Premier League goals than him, tells you. And you've got to caveat with the greatest of respect to a club like Crystal Palace. They don't create the chances that Manchester City create. So for him to be just behind Erling, or number 2 on the list, I think shows what a good striker he is. But today, yeah, he scored the goal. Wasn't the best of games, but I do think he worked. I think a lot of the work that people won't have seen really did help Crystal Palace in terms of getting the ball further forward, holding the ball up a lot more, and he is in contention for man of the match.
And he will be getting some reinforcements, some perhaps better service. The reports are that Brennan Johnson has signed for Crystal Palace. 35 million is the reported fee from Tottenham, so might he be playing in the next game for Crystal Palace against Newcastle?
If he's ready to go, then yes. You know, we talked about Justin Devaney and the opportunities he's had, back-to-back Premier League starts now. You know, he worked hard, he tried hard, but he didn't really do too much. He's same for Pino. You can see the quality he's got in his right foot in terms of set pieces, and whipping balls in. But you know, he hasn't quite got it as yet. It may take him the end of the season before he fully adjusts. So absolutely, you bring in someone like Brennan Johnson, who is desperate to play, who has scored goals regularly in the Premier League, who maybe feels he's got a point to prove. And if I were him, and obviously his dad, he doesn't need any advice from me with his old man being who he is. Just go in there and be humble, but look as if you're doing Palace a favour here. I'm going to be one of the big boys, and I'm going to help take Palace towards, at the very least, top half of the Premier League, if not a European place, and win a European trophy as well. You're right to point out they're still in the playoffs, but I think any English side in the Europa Conference League has a wonderful opportunity of lifting it, because when you get to the third tier of European football, then you talk about the strength and depth of leagues, and there's none stronger than the Premier League. So look, Palace really should be in the Europa League. They're not. I think they've got to take advantage of that and win the Europa Conference. And I think Brennan Johnson will be wanting to get in immediately. And by the time you get to those European games, be ready and feel he knows exactly what Glasner wants from him.
And in terms of what this result means for the table, well, Crystal Palace are 9th with 27 points, ahead of Fulham just by goal difference, also on 27 points. Both sides well
so
clear.
So nothing's really changed.
Nothing in it. Nothing's in it. Nothing much has changed. But both sides well clear of that relegation zone, which allows managers to a bit of time and space to breathe. Well, there isn't really that in the Premier League, but you know what I mean. Where can they build from this, and will they be looking at eyeing up those European spots?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they should. And both of these teams are only 3 points off Chelsea in 5th. So I'm not saying that they will or even have a chance of a Champions League place. I definitely think both have a chance of the European places, and well done to Marco Silva, because up until recently, a couple of weeks ago, they were down there, but this run that they've been on means that they can now look up rather than down. And for Crystal Palace, it's the same thing as well. But honestly, you're not looking that far ahead, Flo. You're really not, especially coming out of this really difficult Christmas period, and for Crystal Palace, really difficult first half of the season. It's just about, right, what can we do in January? Who's fit? Who can we play next? Who looks like they're not going to get injured? Glasner doesn't make many changes, but I think it's almost the walking wounded at the moment.
Time now for us to pick our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
The Here For It hero on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, we're here for it.
And Scott Minto, who is your man of the match from today's game?
I've no idea, Flo. I mean, I think Kevin was Fulham's best player, and I was surprised he got taken off. I'd like to mention Lacroix and Mark Gehi. I thought they were very, very good, and Jefferson Lerma being the versatile player that he is. The two wing-backs were brilliant, and obviously Nathaniel Klein made the assist for JP Mateta. I don't think there was any one standout player, so I'm going to be a little bit boring and give it to a goal scorer. We talked about him, maybe he didn't have his best game, but I think a lot of his work is very much on scene when you're that lone centre forward up against two physical centre halves. And the fact that he did score and still looked dangerous and stayed on the pitch to the end, it's not an easy one, that one, but I'm going to give it to JP Mateta.
That was our Here For It hero man of the match from today's game, then with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.